What's up, my dudes? It's the Vigorous Q&A again. Sorry I couldn't make it last weekend. I tore my quad. Yes. It finally happened after 25 years, 28 years of bodybuilding, trying to maintain tendon health and doing the best I can to prevent injuries like this. I mean, I already tore my chest one time, benching 315, 3 plates, and I tore my hamstrings on both sides doing laying leg curls and seated leg curls on both instances when I was on the Anadrol sandwich. And this time I slipped down the stairs. Literally one stair, guys. One stair. That's all it took to snap my tendon in half. In the meantime, please let me know how the audio is. I tried to change some settings. So I just want to make sure that everything sounds good. So for all the 25 guys that are here, do a mic check, and let me know in the comment section or the live chat how the audio sounds. So I wanted to go to the gym last Thursday, not this weekend, or last Thursday, not the 7th, but May the 30th. May the 30th, I tore my quad. On the way to the gym, I did my entire pre-workout ritual. I did my injectable pre-workout. It was chest day, left and right, whole CC, and my pre-workout shake and blah 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 blah. And I took one step down the stairs, and I slipped from one stair basically, and then down, and on the second stair. So that's what, 3 inches, 4 inches down. I hit with my full body weight on the left leg, and then the tendon gave out, and then I laid there with my hand on my left leg, crying for about a minute because I know how much this is going to suck in the short term and the long term. So I laid there, and after I composed myself, I pulled myself back up to the second floor where most of our living space is. And then I waited on the couch for my wife to come down because she was to bring our daughter to bed. So 30 minutes later, she came down. She's like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, I kind of tore my quad slipping down the stairs. And now we're going to have to find a surgeon." So I was already on perplexity, finding ways to kind of get over this hump as fast as possible, obviously, trying to find a bed surgeon in Bangkok. So on Saturday, we had our appointment, which is what I think the best surgeon in Bangkok for this kinds of injury. And Friday, we met a specialist, but he was not the surgeon that was the best guy because he was not available Friday. So Saturday, we met with the surgeon. He kind of discussed the procedure. We did an MRI, obviously. And Sunday, I was under the knife. So that's 3 days after the injury. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's pretty fast. Private hospitals, right? Paying out of pocket. I didn't want to wait for the healthcare insurance. So I was like, whatever the price is going to be, the price is going to be. I'll advance it. If I get back from the insurance, that's a bonus, but not a requirement. This is why I save money for freak accidents like this. So you can pay it out of pocket if needed. Now, the entire bill ended up being about $12,000, so that's not the end of the world. But, some people don't have $12,000 laying around, and they have to wait 2 weeks for the insurance to pre-approve. And the longer you wait, the least of a success a surgery like this is going to be. So I prepaid out of pocket, but they already reimbursed whatever we put on the credit card. So they nullified whatever was on the credit card, and then the bill is going to the insurance. So at least it's not costing me anything, or not much, besides couple hospital trips. So the MRI is covered and the surgery is covered, and then I had to buy the crutches and the brace, which I'm wearing right now. It was a little bit of a compounded fracture. So you have the kneecap right here, and then a tendon like this. So my tendon ripped off the bone, obviously, but also down the middle. So they drilled 3 holes down the kneecap, and then they put sutures in the middle to put it together, and then here on the side and here on the other side, and then anchored it to the kneecap. And then I got about a 5-inch incision, I think. Not too much bruising, not too much swelling, no contusions or anything like that. No black and blue. It actually looks pretty fucking good. And the pain was pretty tolerable. Of course, walking right now kind of sucks because you have to keep your legs straight, right? They want the reattachment to take place properly, and the more you move, the more difficult that's going to be. So I have a knee brace. I'm laying down a lot, obviously, and the surgery was a success. I mean, besides the spinal block getting fucking itchy, and the opioids and the tramadol making me constipated, and then having me to force hydrotherapy to get it all out as soon as I came home. And the hospital food made my sweat very nasty. So it was a whole ordeal, and I I needed like a week to kind of get over it by myself. So I didn't tell anybody. I told Chase Irons and Paul Burnett and some family members and my wife, obviously. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to deal with it by myself and get back into a routine. I don't want to deal with people right now. But now I'm ready to get back on social media and do some Q&As. I'm sitting here with my leg elevated, so maybe the angle is a little bit off. But I'm doing the best I can. I'm hanging on for dear life. I'm already walking. The peptide protocol has started. It's linked down below. I'll give you a brief overview. We'll go back to TRT, 200 milligrams a week. Micronized progesterone, 200 milligrams 3 times per week. Oxandrolone, 20 milligrams per day. That's Anavar for the uninitiated. Growth hormone, 5 IUs per day. TB500, BPC 157, KPV, 2 milligrams of each every single day. And GHK copper, 10 milligrams per day. That's separately now, but I'll get some close stacks and then just do one single shot. Cartilax is on the way, 10 milligrams per day. Sitagliptin is being used 100 milligrams per day to prevent the breakdown of IGF-1, insulin, TB500, BPC 157, and potentially KPV and GHK copper. I'm not entirely sure if those go through the dipeptidyl peptidase 4 enzymes, but I know Increlex or IGF-1, I'm not using Increlex, but IGF-1 is coming from the growth hormone, obviously. The insulin, the TB500, and the BPC 157, they all go through the dipeptidyl peptidase 4 enzymes, and inhibiting that enzyme prevents the breakdown of these peptides, making them last longer and getting more bang for my buck. And the sitagliptin is reasonably inexpensive. Hyaluronic acid injections are on the way, but I probably won't start those soon. I need to do those intra-articularly when I start doing mobility work. So I'll start with maybe 60 milligrams weekly, either 20 milligrams 3 times per week intra-articularly, or a full injection of maybe 10 cc's. I'll have to discuss with the doctor and see what he thinks is the best approach. Right now, I'm not going to do it myself. I still can't find any concrete scientific evidence that hyaluronic acid injection subcutaneous in the knee pad is beneficial. I really think you need to inject that intra-articularly, and for that, I need a doctor with an ultrasound to kind of guide the needle in the right way. Anyway, I bought some online because it's Thailand, and you can just buy hyaluronic acid online. If anything, it's going to improve my skin texture alongside of all the other peptides and stuff. We'll run some collagen peptides from Gorilla Mind, and then some glutamine, some essential amino acids, using creatine 3 times per day. The dosages are down below. Getting plenty of vitamin A retinol from the beef and the salmon that I'm eating, and the beef liver. Vitamin C a couple times per day with meals. Zinc, 30 milligrams per day. And then I do ice therapy, right? Cold pack therapy, 30 minutes, 2 times daily. But today I did it like 4 times. So what I do is I have my breakfast while I'm doing the cold therapy so the food can absorb. And then the area and the inflammation, the pain can come down. Then I do my peptide injections post-meal and after the ice pack treatment. So all the localized peptide injections at the site of injury, obviously. And then infrared light therapy with different wavelengths, which have shown to improve collagen synthesis for about 30 minutes directly after the peptide injection, so everything can kind of marinate in there. And then I might do that a couple times per day. Peptide injections just twice per day, followed by infrared light therapy. But while I'm sitting here, you know, watching YouTube and working, I can just do cold therapy and infrared therapy as many times as I like. So those are pretty much the updates. So it means no leg days for 6 months. I'm excused, only upper body from now. Well, there will be no upper body for 6 weeks. I think the prognosis is about 2 weeks in the brace, and then 4 weeks of slow mobility work, and then another couple of months trying to get the range of motion back. And then I can basically start training again. But this is one of those career-ending injuries. Like, not that I had the best physique that I was getting on stage, but I doubt my quad will ever look the same. And this was the good quad. So it's going to be upper body only for a while. So that's pretty much the updates from me. We're sipping on their Gorilla Mind root beer. And this is like my second best flavor after all the flavors that I tried. So we're having our nootropic fix in. I mean, you got to stay somewhat active at 12 o'clock at night. I've been waking up at 6 and going to bed at 10. So it's 2 hours past my bedtime already. But the nootropics are keeping me going. And this one is so tasty. Really creamy. So I really like Black Cherry Bomb. That's still my favorite flavor. This is my second best. And everything else is kind of falling in the wayside. And Gorilla Mind's Young Latte is kind of like the lowest. But I like real latte and real coffee. So yeah, this is second best flavor. Give it a try. I got like a whole case here, but it's out of reach. So it's they sent it to me. So a couple other updates. We did the Anabolic Roundtable the day after I tore my quads, but we needed a couple days to get the tier list together. So that was dropped last week. We discussed gynecomastia and hair loss prevention, everything you need to do to prevent it from happening, and how to schedule the surgeries, whether that's a hair transplant or the gynecomastia surgery. I did a podcast with It's Just Bodybuilding over at Think Big Bodybuilding Media with Scott McNally and Dusty Henshaw and Ron Partlow. So that was a fun podcast. Almost 2 hours, I think, and a little bit of before and after talk. So that was a really cool podcast to be on. It was like one of my bucket list podcasts because, well, Think Big Bodybuilding Media has been, I think, the longest running hardcore bodybuilding podcast that I've been watching well before I got started. So that was really, really cool to be with those guys for 2 hours shooting the shit and talking how red or too tight affects your dopamine levels and what you can do about it. Again, I don't think I can get my old Instagram back. I've gone through like 4 different guys now, so I kind of gave up. So the new Instagram account is vanilla.vigorsteve. I haven't really found the incentive to start posting again because every time I post something, it already gets taken down. So we got a couple of haters reporting all of my content, so I got to figure out what content is bypasses their shit tactics and what I can still post. And then I'll get right back to business there. But we got about 2,000 followers there instead of 90,000 I had before. Oh, well. Life goes on. Marek Health launched Marek Supplements. You can get 10% discount with code Vigorous. MarekHealth.com or MarekSupplements.com/Vigorous will get you there. It's linked down below. So they got vitamin D3, thyroid support, kidney support, liver support, all those kinds of supplements, all expertly formulated. Really focusing on health. And I know that Gorilla Mind kind of discontinued their citrus bergamot and berberine and all these health supplements, but that's going to, excuse me, man, the sodas makes you burp like crazy. So that's all the health supplements that, you should be taking as cycle support are going to be over at Marek Supplements. And that's already live and they're shipping out and the discount is live. Omega Aminos is having a 20% discount. Mother's Day sale. And free research guide if you spend over $250. Now, I know many of you guys will easily get that, so you get a free research guide. I think it's an ebook sent to your email and a 20% discount on most of the products. And they're just launching a 10 milligrams per 1 milliliter injectable SLU PP332 in Migliol 840, I believe. So that's something you can look into. And they have the SLU capsules as well. So that's added to their list of products. I haven't indexed it on the source list yet, but I will do that very, very shortly. So fat discount will last the entire weekend until Sunday night, USA time. Let's see, Disguised Research had to rebrand to Disguised Alpha because there was an issue with their .shop website. And so they went to a .com, but I think the .com was taken. So they rebranded to Disguised Alpha, and they added Canadian shipping. So for all the guys that want to buy some spicy products, injectable pre-workouts, peptides, etc. Right? It's all available for research purposes on Disguised Alpha. It's all updated in the source list already. And we're working on a Vigorous pre-workout blend, which will contain L-arginine, L-citrulline, L-ornithine, L-carnitine, methionine, inositol, choline blend, and N-acetyl L-tyrosine for mood and motivation support, including ATP and AMP. So that has nitric oxides and vasodilating properties, lowering lactic acid or lactate, and shuttling fatty acids in there, and then more vasodilating and energy-producing compounds like ATP and AMP, and a little bit of motivation, injectable motivation. So I can't wait to try that. It's as soon as I give them the green light, it's going to be live on the website. But that's basically coming very, very soon as a private blend. And then once that's going on, then I'll give them some formulations for more private blends. And then you guys can enjoy my injectable pre-workouts or special anti-aging stacks through their website. Again, the entire quad tendon injury and surgery recovery protocol that I'm following is linked down below. If you have issues or if you have questions, just ask me in the live chat. And that's pretty much it. So let's get some questions going after the disclaimer. All right. Welcome to the Vigorous crew. Benjamin, why do you like dividing your GLP-1 dosing instead of a bolus one? So, you know, back in the day, we only had liraglutide, dulaglutide, and semaglutide to choose from. And liraglutide was a daily injection, which allowed you to basically take it from Monday to Saturday. Sunday, you would take a day off if that was your refeed day and not have this blunted effect on your appetite. So you could actually refeed pretty fucking hard on liraglutide. Now, refeeding pretty fucking hard on dulaglutide, semaglutide, tirzepatide, and retatrutide is difficult because it has such a long half-life. I know these medications were designed for single administrations. Dulaglutide had an auto-injector. Semaglutide had an auto-injector. I tried both of them. Both of them made me fucking nauseous, made me car sick, acid reflux, indigestion. I tried it with tirzepatide once, and I discussed these side effects with Derek, More Plates, More Dates. And he's like, why don't we fucking microdose this like we do our testosterone? Instead of a bolus injection of testcypionate, 200 milligrams once every 2 weeks, why don't we do 25 milligrams a couple times a week and keep our levels more stable? We can do this with semaglutide as well. All the side effects went away. No more issues. So I started doing that with tirzepatide and now retatrutide. Now, I recently switched back retatrutide to 5 milligrams 2 times per week because of the injection convenience, and I no longer get the side effects because, well, I've built up a tolerance, obviously. 10 milligrams per week is quite a hefty dose, right? A very high dose, very high appetite blunting dose and fat loss producing, promoting dose. But in the beginning, when you start these medications, you might get side effects like indigestion, constipation, fucking car sickness, nausea, blah, 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 blah. So I think it's better at least to start just to do microdose. Just start low, inject it maybe 3 times a week or every single day or twice a week at least, and build your way up as needed. And then once you reach a point where, you know, you really need like the clinical dose, the obesity dose, the fat pieces of shit dose, like that's where I'm at, like 10 milligrams a week, because you build up a tolerance, then you can maybe reduce the frequency because you no longer experience the side effects. So the reason why we did 3 times per week, 2 times a week, or every single day injections is to minimize the side effects and get all the benefits, the appetite suppression, the insulin sensitivity, the cholesterol management improvement, the improvement in overall metabolic rate and fat loss, and appetite suppression, obviously, without any of the side effects. And again, if you want to do 1 injection per week for injection convenience and that you don't get any side effects, go for it. Right? People want to hammer on that, yeah, this is the clinical dose, the receptor gets more saturated, and you don't get this downregulating effect. Glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide receptors and GIP receptors, GLP-1 receptors, and glucagon receptors have a reasonably short half-life compared to the half-life of these medications. So the medications attaches to the receptor eventually dissociates and gets broken down. New receptors take its place while this medication is still active. So it will occupy multiple receptors, whether you inject it once per week or multiple times per week. So that is that's bullshit. Right? If you want to go with the scientific evidence, biology, please. Biology. Injection convenience is done for the medical field and the end consumer. End consumers go to the clinic to get these injections done or do an auto-injector because they don't know how to fucking inject. You, me, and everybody else watching are junkies. We inject multiple times per day. It's not an issue for us. We do more injections than brushing our teeth. Right? And I brush my teeth 3 times per day, but I do maybe 10 injections. Well, right now it's atrocious how many injections I do, but I have a quad tear. So for us, it's a non-issue also. These medications are, the way it's designed is for lazy fat pieces of trash. They want to do 1 injection, and they're so morbidly obese that they're basically nauseous all the time. That's, from their food habits. And injecting once per week will make them less nauseous because they eat less nauseating food. Whereas I eat very healthy food 24/7. I just eat a little bit extra. And retatrutide helps to keep my appetite under control and maybe produce a little bit of fat loss. So anyway, enough time on that spent. Do what works best for you. I feel that divided dose just works best for me. But if you want to hammer the receptor, hammer it in 1 injection per week, go for it. I apologize for the question spam in advance. I missed the last Q&As. I had to limit it to 3 so I don't risk getting banned. Yeah, that's good. Leave some time for other people. Test 160, Train A, 125 milligrams per week. 10 I use growth hormone, 40 micrograms Clen daily. Got a good deal on generics. I do 30 to 60 minute fasted cardio a day, but the resting heart rate still sits 87 to 160 while lifting. That's the Clen. Switch to mirabegron. Left ventricular hypertrophy concern. On this cycle, yes. With 10 I use growth hormone, yes. You take the Clen out, your resting heart rate will come down, but the forceful contraction will not change. So that more has to do with the training intensity and their blood pressure, which you didn't mention. So you take the Clen out, the resting heart rate will come down, and the heart rate while lifting will come down. But the contraction force and my arm is sweating buckets will still cause left ventricular hypertrophy when you're on steroids. This is part of the game. No, we're not going to take Nebivolol. Switch to mirabegron or take the stimulants out. Titrated from, over 12 weeks, spent 4 weeks at 125 milligrams. So you're already on trend for 16 weeks. I think it's time to get that out of your system. Only thing out of range, somatic at 52.4. That's fine if you're hydrated. Keep going or pull the trend since it's been... I would take it out, man. The inflammatory, cytokines and the prostaglandins might be elevated. You might have water retention. Your mood might not be good. And it's a harsh compound, even at 125 milligrams a week. So I would take it out, switch it for maybe 200 milligrams Primo. Is very self-conscious, and they're smaller. 2-2. Very self-conscious. Where's 1-1? I don't see 1-1, bro. It didn't go through. So I can't answer this question because I don't know what it's about. Any extra money for the question spam, odd questions, cheat meal week. Yeah, so please repost 1-1 because I don't see it in my chat. It might have had a word that's not allowed. Steve, finally on my first cycle of the week, 250 milligrams testosterone cypionate spit 4 times weekly with 25 milligrams Anavar daily and 3 I use growth hormone daily. That's a pretty hefty first cycle, but hey, you already got your hands dirty, so might as well continue. You were not kidding about the libido. I can't stop. Yeah, well, enjoy it, man. If you look good on cycle, you better put that dick to work because it's not going to last forever. Any updates on the DHT Enanthate? So I took it for 1 week. I took it for 1 week, and then I had to stop because what's the point of taking DHT Enanthate when I'm not going to the gym and lifting hardcore? So I took 350 milligrams over the week. By Friday, I looked pretty fucking good. I will tell you that. Friday, I looked really good, even though I had a torn quad. And Saturday, I looked pretty fucking lean. So I think some aromatase inhibition and glucocorticoid inhibition was already taking place, and that's why I was dumping a little bit of water. Normally, you would be fucking water retentive, right, from an injury like this. But now the water retention is pretty okay. Now that I stopped training, I mean, the water retention is pretty good, considering that I'm on 5 I use a growth hormone. It's not bad. So yeah, the DHT experiment is going to have to wait. Unfortunately, if you have any experience with it, any updates, please let us know in the chat. All right, let's see if there's a super chat or chat with that. Thank you for all aspects, including send you appreciation email with 3 working papers that you've inspired me to write. Functional androgen axis. Yeah, so I got that, but honestly, it's a little bit above my head. Did you send it to Dean and Kurt? I went through it. I know it's not published yet, but I really tried to go through it, but it went a little bit over my head. So please send it to Dean and Kurt as well, and let's see what they say. And then once you get that published, we can maybe discuss that on the Anabolic Roundtable. I'll really have to do some digging because when you send it to me, it was like either before the quad tear or right after. And yeah, I found it a little bit hard to get through. But I'll spend some more time on it. But please send it to Dean and Kurt. They might be interested in reading it as well. Wait for the cripple Q&A. No, sorry to hear about the injury. All right. Yeah, we'll heal up soon enough. Hello, Master Steve. How's it going with the injectable SLU from the skies? My vine came with crystals on the wall and bottom of the vial. Live in Puerto Rico. Hot all year. Thoughts? Yeah, maybe it crashed. I mean, you use Microdosing 840, right? It could be that they're still figuring out the formulation. Some of the formulas use a little bit of DMSO. I think the formula of Chase Irons also has a tiny trace bit amount of DMSO in there. They didn't get any inflammation or post-injection pain or irritation at the site of administration, so they decided to launch it. I think it's good to go. But again, releasing that to a larger group of people that will kind of determine if it's good to go or not. So if it's crystallized, like my Helios, for example, from Belligas, the Helios with clenbuterol and yohimbine, that was slightly crystallized at the walls as well. Still worked just quite the same. But the ones that I have had, I stopped that also because, well, I have a surgery now. So I'm just going to do the peptide protocol and forget about the SLU. It's pointless. I'm not looking to lose fat. I'm looking to recover. But yeah, it could happen, right? But some of these compounds are a little bit harder to dissolve. And if the formulation is a little bit off, or you really need DMSO to make it properly injectable, then so be it. But personally, I would not like to inject DMSO because I like to keep track of my inflammatory markers. So why can't I see that comment, but you guys can? Anyway, I've been GH one time with the glucose, 102 after a meal, and just wanted to go to bed, and blood sugar hasn't even gone below 85 last 2 days when I usually have it around 70s. I don't think this is related at all. Since growth hormone metabolizes in 4 hours and then improves insulin sensitivity by the elevation of IGF-1. Picture this. Audio is great, but the tear, that's some bullshit, man. I hope you get well soon as possible. Did it pop? What was the sound? So the sound was... It's like tearing a t-shirt, you do the fucking Hulk Hogan WWE t-shirt rip in the bedroom, like, babe, no time. Right? It's that top part, the like the double, the triple folded one. Jeez, I'm sweating my fucking tits off now. Oh, Christ. That's from all the caffeine and the taurine or tyrosine in here, probably. Good shit, man. It's probably overlapping with the nootropics I was taking today. I double dipped on the what was it? What's the name? Let's see. I double dipped today with... Jesus Christ, where's the protocol? ACD 856 and methylene blue, and then the adenosine receptor nootropic. And I've been fucking wired all day, but now I start sweating by taking some nootropics on top of it. Hey man, that's what it takes to do these live streams. Anyway, so yeah, it popped, and the sound felt like it sounded like a ripping t-shirt. And then of course I hit the floor because my knee completely folded backwards. Or I folded over my knee, and it was behind me. I had to kind of lift it in place, and then you put your hands on there. You're like, no, and then the tears start coming because you know exactly how fucking shitty and sucky and complicated recovery is going to be, and that the quad is going to look fucking mangled, and that you won't be able to train legs for like ever, hard ever again. So. It's it's going to suck. So, but the mental aspect of it was harder than the pain. The pain was manageable, but I have a high pain tolerance, I guess. Yeah. But mentally, I was struggling for a couple days. I'm not gonna lie. Mentally, it was very hard. Yeah, that's why we started the ACD. What is it? Anyway, it's the serotonin receptor agonist, and now it's actually putting me in a good mood. So, we're okay again. You just got to medicate yourself, and then you're okay. Let's see. Where's next? My estradiol came back at 108 in recent blood work. Total testosterone 1530, so I'm assuming that's picograms per milliliter and nanograms per deciliter. This is on 225 tests per week. Okay, those are good levels. Also 12.5 milligrams Anavar per day. Wood cutting test to 150 milligrams and keeping VAR steady be okay. Yes, your total testosterone will probably come down to 1,000. Estradiol about 75. So that's still out of the reference range. And you might need a little bit of an aromatase inhibitor or metformin or Cialis to reduce aromatase enzyme expression. This shit makes me so burpy. Or maybe it's all the fucking antibiotics that I have to take. Yeah, you never know. So total testosterone will be at the top of the reference range. Estradiol will still be out of the reference range. You need a method to bring that in range. I think a total testosterone of 1,000 and an estradiol of 40 to 50 is good. No risk of gynecomastia, blood pressure issues, or other kinds of side effects related to elevated estradiol. But an estradiol of 108, that's gyno territory, as we discussed in the Anabolic Roundtable discussing gyno prevention strategies. So 6.25 milligrams of Romacin twice per week, or Proviron on top of the Anavar, probably not a good idea. Really SSBG reduction. So I would just go with the Romacin, 6.25 milligrams twice per week. And then if that's too much, you do 6.25 milligrams once per week. Goals to cut to 10 pounds over the next 6 weeks. So if you want to drop the test to 150, it's easy to cut to 10 pounds because there will be muscle mass and water retention that's favorable in the muscle mass. You don't have to do anything. Steve, please show pictures of the tear. I don't have any pictures of the tear. I have an MRI with my legal name on it, so we're not going to show that. But it's I might be able to get some pictures from the operating room. I decided to go full anesthesia this time. So I did the LASIK eye surgery, the gyno surgery, and the orthopedic plate removal surgery without full anesthesia. But I was really not in the mood. So I opted for the spinal block and the full anesthesia. And the doctor was like, I thought you were going to be conscious. And I said, we discussed the operation procedure. And it's like, I need a little vacation. I think it's going to take longer than 2.5 hours. Ended up taking 4 hours. And I just need I don't want to be a red now. So they put me under with sleeping meds. And then I woke up and it was fixed. But yeah, it looks pretty good, man. Honestly, I did a lot of research online and watched all the YouTube videos of the recovery. And people are completely fucking mangled. Their legs are all swollen. Like Ron Partlow tore his quad maybe 6 or 7 years ago, right? Jumping off a trampoline. His leg looked atrocious compared to mine. I mean, I have swelling, but it's not that bad. I still have separation, dude. I have veins in my calves. I have a little bit of swelling on the knee area, and it's not bad. So it looks less mangled than when I broke my leg. And certainly a lot less mangled than when I did the gyno surgery with liposuction. That looked like somebody beat me with a stick over and over and over until the stick broke. That was not pretty. That took months to go away. So yeah, I think I went with the right doctor for the job. I feel insanely flat and have dry joints without growth hormone, also on 10 milligrams Accutane. Was that daily? And when I go a few days without GH pumps are non-existent. Yeah, Accutane is horrible for that. Does it make you flat? I don't know. I mean, maybe look into other methods to control your acne. We'll discuss that on the next Anabolic Roundtable. Acne and gut distension prevention, basically. So we're not going to go in a full gastrointestinal podcast, just how to prevent bubble gut and how to prevent acne, right? Cosmetic things that are easy fixes. But yeah, 10 milligrams Accutane per day. If you get side effects like flatness and dry joints, then maybe reduce that to 10 milligrams twice per week. That's enough to keep the acne at bay. And there's so many other solutions that you can look into. But we'll discuss that again in the Anabolic Roundtable. And otherwise, use the fucking search function. I have topics on this shit. Let's go Vigorous crew, eating my pre-workout cream and rice while watching. Then it's a leg day. Do a couple reps for Uncle Steve, okay? I won't be able to for a while. It's so pathetic, right? I mean, you would expect it to happen at the gym while ripping legendary weights, and then it happens on one fucking step of the stair. Don't even have a cool story, man. Getting gyno surgery, but I don't have it bad, so they don't do a full go under. Apparently, would still recommend going low TRT, no GH before. Yeah, I would reduce the water retention as much as possible, and you don't need more than TRT for recovery. So, and Anavar, obviously, with the protocols linked down below. And otherwise, it's on the gyno videos. So I would just, because you won't be able to lift for a month. Why take the steroids? Why take a high-dose steroids when you're not going to lift? I'm doing 200 milligrams a test. And I could even drop it to 150. Maybe. Let's see. I was 1,500 nanograms on 200 milligrams per week. So maybe for novelty purposes. But I do want to prevent sarcopenia. So maybe 200 tests. I was able to sustain all of my gains, right? On 200 tests. 3.5 months, and then I bumped it to 300. I was able to get all of my old strength back. And then when I started the DHT for 1 week, things were going really, really well. But for you, just do TRT and then add in the GH a couple days after the surgery. Hey, Steve, I have a rave coming up in a month and a half, and what are some of the things I can do to look my best current cycle? Here we go again. Ketogenic diet and go have fun. Ketogenic diet and go have fun. In a month and a half, you have 6 weeks. Do you want to do 2 hours of cardio per day and get the fat off fast? Right? We have thousands of fat burner stacks on the website. Look into ATX304. That's a very promising fat burner. I have no idea where they're selling it. I know Disguised Alpha is going to list it on my recommendation. I was excited to try it, but it might lower protein synthesis a little bit through MPK and mTOR pathways. So I'm not going to do that right now because I need all the protein synthesis I can get to recover from this injury. But I'm not against using it, even though it might be a slight mitochondrial uncoupler. It might have some antioxidant benefits and might upregulate mitochondrial function as well. So that's something you could look into if you want to have a cutting-edge fat burner. I heard some good reports over it, and not an increase in oxidative stress, but body temperature does run a little bit higher. So I'll be trying that at one point or another. And again, the cycle looks fine, man. Maybe lower the test to 200 milligrams, increase the trend to 150, and increase the mass to 300 milligrams while following a ketogenic diet, and then go have your rave and have fun. For the stack you just lifted off, if somebody were to get a surgery and then take all of that, can they start as listed, or do I have to titrate up? Now, this is what I do based on my surgery. What you need to do based on your surgery requires research. And then it depends on your starting point. Like, I've used all of these compounds before, obviously. I used the testosterone, the anavar, the micronized progesterone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're starting off fresh, you might want to start off with things that seem more efficacious for you than other ones. So if you don't have any experience with steroids, why risk the bloating and the estrogen issues that might come along with it, and just do the glow stack? And maybe the sitagliptin to prevent the breakdown of TB500, BPC 157. That should be reasonably benign. And then you add in the growth hormone as needed to prevent the water retention, because surgery will bloat you. For sure. It will bloat. You should have seen me after I came out of the surgery room. Jesus fucking Christ. I was holding so much fucking water, dude. And then it all came down. I had a catheter in because you get a spinal block. So the nurse was like, shit is full again. And she came an hour later. Shit is full again. And then they took the catheter out, and I was pissing every fucking hour. One of those whole containers, you know. You sit there in the hospital bed. You have this fucking container that you're trying to piss into and not piss all over yourself. Yeah, it's not pretty, man. It ain't fucking pretty. And the urine is very frothy, obviously, because you're not hydrating enough. But it's all this water retention that's coming off. And so do you want growth hormone and testosterone on top of that when you have no experience with that? I don't think that's a good idea. I would maybe do HCG and Anavar, or just Anavar. Again, it depends on the surgery, how long you need these medications to get over the surgery and recover as fast as possible. But if you're already on growth hormone and testosterone, just come down to TRT. 200 tests, 2 years of growth hormone. I can tolerate 10 years of growth hormone just fine, but not everybody's up to that. So again, start where you feel you're comfortable to minimize side effects and the bloating, because you will be bloated from the surgery and afterwards, especially if the surgery is very invasive. Like, my surgery was somewhat invasive, but I'm immobile. I can't do cardio. I can't walk around. I have to immobilize the leg. I have to do this ice therapy to kind of bring the inflammation down. But if you just had a small surgery on your shoulder and you can walk around and do cardio, then obviously your peptide protocol and your water retention is going to be different. Let's see. Just want to say thanks for all of the info you put out and how amazing your ebooks are. Everybody go get Vigorous Steve ebooks. They're truly amazing for the Cheesecake Fund. All right, much appreciated. Yeah, they're very old and they're not evidence-based. They're purely experience-based, but I never heard a complaint. I literally never heard a complaint. I sold, thousands, hundreds, not the tens of thousands of them. Never heard a complaint. And I put it right there in the intro, said this is not evidence-based. This is pure experience-based. Do additional research. I don't want to cherry pick. I mean, they're cheap, but they're very valuable, and you'll gain a ton of knowledge. Are they a little bit outdated? Maybe. I mean, they're from 2021, so or 2019. I can't remember. 2020, give or take. So they're a little bit outdated, but eventually I'll get working on them in new content. But when that happens, I don't know. Welcome to the Vigorous crew. Low dose cycle to run long term to keep gains and build muscle tissue after a cycle. TRT plus, man. 200 tests, 2 use growth hormone. That's it. That's it. Adam, guys, I'm 20 minutes behind, so I'm going to skip over a lot of questions. So member questions and super chats first. Steve, how are you? Well, I tore my quad, so not too great, but I'm hanging on. Got 36 IU vials from China's generic GH. Injected 6 IU Saturday and 12 IUs on Sunday. 11 p.m. and got bloods Monday. 8:30 a.m. GH levels were just above the reference range. Yeah, do you reckon it's fake or me timing it wrong? I think you're fucking retarded. Everybody knows that the half-life of growth hormone is around 4 hours. So if you injected 8 a.m. or 11 p.m., 12 IUs, then by 8:30 a.m. the next day, 9.5 hours later, all of that growth hormone is metabolized. Will your IGF-1 still be elevated, which is a half-life of 32 to 36 hours? Of course. Did you check your IGF-1? Probably not. So I hate to say it to you, bro, but you're fucking retarded. Why do I always tell people to inject 10 IUs growth hormone 2.5 hours before drawing blood intramuscularly to see how high their growth hormone levels are? What you should have done is taken 30 milligrams melatonin before bed, and then your growth hormone would have been elevated the next day because it takes time for the melatonin to metabolize. And while it's metabolizing, it's continuously pulsing growth hormone out of your pituitary. It will be 10 to 12 nanograms per milliliter upon waking, whereas exogenous growth hormone will be gone 5 hours later, 6 hours later. It'll be completely gone. So you did it 9.5 hours later. Yeah, it's not fake. You just did it wrong, bro. You just did it wrong. 10 IUs intramuscularly into the shoulder 2.5 hours before drawing blood. You should get 32 to 36 nanograms per milliliter. Thoughts and test you while cruising long term. If you inject it 2 times a week, it's fine. After gyno lipo surgery, how long before training? I think it took me 4 weeks before I could go to the gym, and about 2 months before I could lift heavy, and about 3 months before the pain on chest supported rows and really deep stretches on. So yeah, it took a while. It took about 3 months before I was back to training normally. The swelling took about 8 weeks about 8 weeks to go away. The bruising about 10 weeks, 12 weeks. Let's just say 3 months before you're back to training at your old intensity and full range of motion without pain. And then whether you remain the strength, that might be another month. So yeah, it took me a good couple of times, man. Good couple of months. Any place for SLU in the off-season could have blunt hypertrophy? No, I don't think directly, but you're obviously burning through carbohydrates a lot faster, so you increase your carbohydrate requirement. Will it help you to keep you lean? Yes. Will it help to keep you full? Absolutely not. So I would rather look into methylene blue and MOTS-C, but MOTS-C can downregulate protein synthesis to the AMPK and mTOR pathway. So you want to take that around training to kind of offset that, because training also downregulates protein synthesis, but it's a different kind of mTOR pathway. You have mTOR 1 and 2, and MOTS-C downregulates or increases mTOR, not downregulates mTOR 2, and training upregulates mTOR 1, so you kind of break even. So I've changed my tune. I think you should take MOTS-C before training to kind of offset that, and then you have minimal negative effects on protein synthesis post-workout, because if you inject it 1 hour before the workout, you have increased ATP synthesis, increased workout capacity, and by the time your workout is over and the mTOR downregulation is kind of blunted from the workout, the mTOR downregulation from the MOTS-C is also gone. So that's a timing window of about 4 hours. And SLU, I mean, if you want to run like 500 micrograms in the off season for increased mitochondrial function, I think it's fine. But doing high dose SLU in the off season to stay lean, I would rather run a low dose retatrutide for you to control your appetite and potentially improve insulin sensitivity than really slam the SLU. I'm gonna have to quick look. And one guy who's spamming might need to get banned. Let me see. Yeah, this guy's fucking retarded. I'm gonna put you in timeout. I don't want to see your messages for a while. Guys have very low patience right now. So, you're warned. Sorry, one more question, of course. My wife's sex drive is very low after dieting on Reta. Besides upping calories and lowering Reta, what do you recommend to increase female sex drive? Watch the video about female sex drive. It's all there. It's all there. Just use the search function, bro. But yeah, increase the food. That will probably help. And if her libido is low, then it's up to you to bring that up. Earn more money. Get a better body. Make her feel sexy. Women are complicated, man. And sometimes you just got to make her angry to have makeup sex. Yeah, we don't fight. You just create a fight for no reason. You fucking rape her in the kitchen. Or not rape, but, makeup sex in the kitchen. So I don't want to wait until the bedroom. And then they're fine again, Fuck, man. You just fake a problem and then so you can have makeup sex. And I'm happily married for 13 years, 12 years. I know what to do. Sometimes you buy her flowers, and sometimes you make her angry. You just gotta. Women like emotional roller coasters. That's what they like. So if it's too stable, too steady, too easy, you just gotta create problems, and then you make up the same day, and then an hour later you're fucking hip thrusting her into heaven. Steve, don't talk about your wife like that. At least I have a wife. I have a wife too. Show me your wife. She hot like mine? Probably not. Lost 21 pounds in 1 month on Reta. Started feeling slightly weaker, probably from missing some meals. Do you think adding SLU? No, add the food back in. What? Fuck. In order for these drugs to have minimal side effects, you need to eat properly. And if you already eat properly before adding retatrutide, you will not lose 21 pounds. First of all. And my blood work improved fuck all on retatrutide or tirzepatide or liraglutide, whatever. Because my blood work was already good. There was nothing to improve from these drugs. These drugs improve your blood work if you're a fat piece of shit that doesn't know how to eat right. I just ate a little bit more, and I don't want to be thinking about food all the time because I'm a fat boy at heart. I just want to eat. I just want to eat ice cream and cookies, but I don't. And until I do, obviously. But otherwise, I'm thinking about it all the time. I just take away the food noise with retatrutide. So I lost 0 weight on retatrutide, but I improved my body composition because I still eat healthy. And I just have to force it down a little bit, and the meal portions are a little bit smaller. Instead of eating half a kilo of vegetables, I eat 300 grams. Because I don't want to feel so full. Adding an SLU, it will probably make you feel weaker because you're feeling weak from the lack of calories. And SLU speeds up your metabolism, increases fat oxidation and glucose utilization, and you'll probably feel weaker. So, yeah, man, throw more drugs at it. That's always a solution. I think for you, the solution is that you eat better and maybe lower the dose of Reta so you don't lose weight so fast. What is that thumbnail? That is a Ghost in the Shell, the first movie, the OG movie, where Major Motoko? Motoko Kusanagi. She tries to open up the tank and rips her entire body in half. She's a cyborg, so the bones are made of metal, but the tendons and ligaments, that's all muscle tissue. So she literally rips herself in half, and every time I have an injury, I'm thinking about this movie. That it's such a fuck, man. Ghost in the Shell, and they're going to make another one. The Ghost in the Shell series and all the movies and the anime, man, if you like Yuri, would like to partake. I'm going to readjust my leg a little bit. So that's what's there from. So every time I have an injury, I'm thinking about that scene. And then I feel okay because it brings up fond memories of watching anime when I was younger. I have a script for Mirabercron 50 milligrams daily, which I recommend staying at 50 milligrams daily or saving and doing 150 milligrams a day for 1 month and 2 months off. Now, I think you should just run 50 milligrams daily from your script and order another 100 milligrams daily online. And then go to 150 milligrams daily 3 months straight. And then you experience good fat loss. You always look jacked. Well, I'm a bodybuilder, bro. I mean, it's not as big as it used to be, but look at this separation. Look at this fucking detail, bro. 200 tests per week, 20 milligrams Anavar per day. In the morning, it looks really good. Maybe tomorrow, if I feel good, I'll take some pictures so you can see how mangled I am. Vigorously sweating, yeah. I'm on too many nootropics. In reference to 2 of 2 questions from the beginning of the Q&A, short version, wife lost a ton of weight quickly, chest size went down a lot. What mass gaining can she do to gain fat on her chest? Besides the titty cream, the estradiol cream that all the ladyboys use that helps with localized fat deposits. So DHT cream, the androgen cream prevents gynecomastia by blocking estrogen-mediated growth of either adipose tissue or gynecomastia tissue. Estradiol, just pure estradiol cream does the opposite. Rub it on this area and it helps with localized fat deposition. Will it go systemic? Perhaps. But if she lost a lot of weight, her estradiol levels are probably a little bit lower as well. And will that bring her chest back up? Probably not. That's why we have boob jobs. And I can tell you from first-hand experience that if you get a good surgeon, it really looks natural. And motorboating is highly, highly enjoyable from 300 cc's onwards. Below that, there's too much gap. But 350 cc, yeah, my wife did 350 cc's first time and 400 cc's the second time. And I'm a bit of a boobie connoisseur and a glute connoisseur. So I can tell when the glutes are well trained and the boobies are fake. And my wife was one of the first women I've ever met where the boobs looked so natural that I could not tell. So she had nice fat distribution. It was under the muscle. The surgeon did a phenomenal job. And so you don't see any separation between or a clear distinction between the chest muscle, the fat tissue, and the silicone, obviously. So they did a phenomenal job. But you got to go with a good surgeon. Yeah, and otherwise there's the titty cream, man. And the problem is with women, if they're a little bit older, when they put the weight back, it doesn't go to the breasts anymore. It goes to the hips. So you get that Minotaur Minotaur look or the the BBL look. Which again, there's a market for that. As long as you're still an ass, you need either nice tits, nice ass, but preferably both. Yeah, but if you have a really nice ass, lower body, and some skills, then boobs are not required. None that should not be flat-chested, obviously, but like big boobs are not required. GH levels were 146 micrograms per liter. So what does that convert to? That sounds pretty low. Yeah, sounds low. It's been completely metabolized, bro. Injected 2.5 hours before. Steve, I'm cutting fat, but it's all working so well that I don't have an excuse to up the trend. First world problems. Yeah, so when you're doing it right, there's no need to up the trend. But you can up the trend when you're doing everything wrong. So why don't you go on a 2-week cruise, get that Hunta virus, and then you can up the trend to stay lean, and get fucking shredded. I'm on 6 milligrams Reta, 300 milligrams test a week, 2 years growth hormone, 30 milligrams Anavar a day, blood work is solid, 1,800 total tests, 500 free, 60 estradiol, 200 IGF-1. Yeah, it's not bad for 2 IU's growth hormone with a 0.7 Z-score. It doesn't mean anything. Z-score doesn't mean anything. Let's see. 2,200 calories a day, gaining muscle, losing fat. Thoughts? If it works, man. If your blood work is good and you're getting results, by all means, keep doing it until it stops working, and then you need to make an adjustment. Is that increasing the cardio? Is that lowering your calories? Is that increasing the drugs? You figured it out so far. I think you can figure it out when the time is right or when the time is there. And if not, then ask again. But this sounds perfect to me. I mean, I'm doing something similar. I'm doing 200 tests, 10 IUs, or I'm doing 10 milligrams Reta, 200 tests, 5 IUs of growth hormone, 20 milligrams Anafor, and my blood work is solid, or at least the last time I checked on a similar protocol. I'm eating about 3 meals, so about 2,000 calories per day, and I'm losing muscle and losing fat. But I have a lot of muscle to lose, and obviously I'm not going to the gym. So by all means, keep going. Thank you for your time, boss. Sorry for being a dick. But sometimes you got to tell people that they're retarded, so they can get their head out of their ass. My mom told me I was retarded today, so even yours truly is not excused. That's the only person I would accept it from, though. You know, Stefan, you're fucking retarded. Okay, Mom. Steve, throwback question. What were your favorite pre-workout supplements back in the mid-2000s? What do you think of Gorilla Dream? Good addition for sleep. Yeah, I like Gorilla Dream, but it seems that sometimes, like 1 out of 4 or 5 times, you wake up like fucking early. After 4 hours or something, you're like, oh, I guess that's enough sleep for today, but then it's 4 hours pre your sleep time, and you can't fall asleep. So I think sometimes it works too well. I'm using Recover X from Disguised Research. That's another blend that's on the way. So it has 1 milligram melatonin and 100 milligrams of GABA and some other stuff. Fuck, man, that wipes me out. It's like an injectable sleep formula. And I remember Amino Asylum had something similar. That would fucking wipe me out. So maybe have a look at Soma Chems. Let me have a quick look. We'll see what it's called. Soma Chems. And fucking Aminotech. They got 2 websites now. Aminotech is for sale. What the fuck? Oh, it's .shop. So they might be losing out on sales because the .shop gets blocked in Wi-Fi providers. Shop by category, peptides, or aminos. Sleep. I will say this makes you burp like crazy. But hey, it's root beer. So, what do you expect? Life support, liver restore. Oh, yeah, I think it's the Relax blend. Yeah, have a look at the Relax blend of Aminotech. That's GABA, arginine, melatonin, and glutamine. It's a little bit lower dose than the Disguised Research, but that's not available yet. And that's a very nice sleep injection. So it takes about 30 minutes to kick in, and then you're like, I gotta get the fucking bed, otherwise I'm gonna fall asleep on the couch. Otherwise, trazodone, bro. Good supplements, mid-2000s. Man, I can't remember. I was in Thailand already by that time, so... Oh, no, mid-2000s, right? So that's 2000. I didn't use any of the pre-workout supplements back then. Besides yohimbine, right? Wamong extract, hamwang with yohimbine in it, or ephedrine. No, it had ephedrine, ephedra, right? Ephedra, yeah, that's the only pre-workout that we had. DMAE was not, or DMAA was not available yet. That's all like early 2010s, I think, or am I mistaken? I can't remember, man. It's 20 years ago. Injectable pre-workout. Pro Vigorous. When it just use what's available now. ATP MP blends, man. Best shit ever. Shit, full anesthesia better than me. I'm too afraid to go under myself. I did local painkillers for my vasectomy, and I was smoking and joking with the doc during the procedure, because why not? Yeah, I was talking with all the doctors too when I performed all my surgeries. And I said, guide me through the process. Okay, right now we're going to make an incision in your eye. This is like with a poor Thai English accent, right? We're going to make an incision in your eye, and then I'm going to open up the flap, and you won't be able to see anything. So you're literally just looking forward. You see the scalp, just open it up. It's the worst surgery ever, bro. The worst surgery ever. Like for the guys that watched Star Trek 2, the Star Trek, not the Wrath of Khan, but with the Borg, right? The Next Generation movie. And you see the Borg fucking thing going in. That's literally how it is. And I remember cringing at that scene. So now I got to experience it in real life twice. Left and right eyes. They open up the flap. You see fuck all. And then the laser goes first, right? Then they open it up to separate it. And the laser goes on the flap to improve the vision. And then, so you don't see anything. It's just completely blurry. You're like, fuck, is this going to be the rest of my life this blurry, this bad? It's like when you put the blur filter all the way to 100% on your pictures, right? Normally you do like, you sharpen it a little bit, and now you put the blur filter all the way to 100%. You just see haze. Scary. It's The Mist by Stephen King for 30 seconds. Especially the ending, right? Shoot the family, and then you meet. Spoiler alert! Just shoot them all right before you meet your saviors. Well, that was okay. And then the flap goes back, and you see the clearest you've ever seen in your life. You're like, holy shit! I went from 100% blur filter to 100% sharpened filter in 30 seconds. And then they obviously stitch that up, and they get a big thing on your eye so you don't start rubbing in it. And then they do the other side, and then the pain starts to happen. So, yeah, that was brutal. But they were guiding me through the entire process, so that was very interesting. And with the gyno surgery and the liposuction, I was just talking with the nurses and the doctors. It's very enjoyable. The leg surgery, I kind of clocked out because I had to use the drill and stuff. And I don't know, that was kind of shitty also. Yeah, so this one I was like, you know what? Anything on my legs, I want to be out. And the rest I can enjoy. Because the leg surgeries take hours. Takes way too long. And it's I don't know, it's very invasive and very violent. Like the gyno surgery took about 1.5 hours, and the femtolasic eye surgery took, 30 minutes or something. That was pretty fast, but that was very traumatizing. Yeah. But I've gone under now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times. And, it's nothing like getting into a K-hole, though. Next question. 250 milligrams a test, 750. I use HGH weekly, estradiol 70. How much Primo would you add to bring down the estradiol a little bit to favorable ranges? 150? 250 would be too much. 1-to-1 ratio would be too much, or end up with estradiol of 35. I think 50 is okay, so maybe 150 Primo. Yeah, or you do 200 tests, 200 Primo. Now, but then your estradiol will be also a little bit lower. So maybe add in 100 Primo, see what happens. You can always increase. Lipoprotein A becomes skewed from androgens. I had mine checked the first time after a few months and 300 tests, ramped up from 250 after about 2 months. Mine was 4 milligrams per deciliter. How would I interpret this? From what I understand, lipoprotein little a gets reduced by testosterone and ezetimibe. So, it is lipoprotein A and B, right? So that's from LDL. So bring your LDL down, and then this will come down as well. B is in the HDL, and A is in the LDL, if that's correct. Lipoprotein A, LDL. Yeah, it's highly inherited from the LDL. So, So do you mean lipoprotein little a or apolipoprotein A? Anyway, just bring your LDL down, and lipoprotein little a and apolipoprotein A will come down. Or is it A or B? Jesus fuck. No, ApoE A is fucking in HDL. ApoE B. So we're talking about lipoprotein A. Okay. Jesus fuck. Yeah, guys, sorry, man. I had to Google that. But it's because you don't write it properly. Right? You make me confused. Lipoprotein A is skewed because of androgens. As far as I know, androgens lower lipoprotein A. It's a genetic thing. And you can lower it with at least testosterone replacement therapy that's been studied, and ezetimibe. So take your ezetimibe, keep the testosterone the same, and then because the LDL comes down, your potential for lipoprotein A formation will come down also. And otherwise, statins, bro. Yeah, lipoprotein test is invalidated by any androgen because of how the test is designed. I did not know that. But hey, Joshua is a nurse. He works in the medical field. Should one front load EQ? No. Just start. Don't be a retard. Just add it in and do blood work 4 to 6 weeks into it. You don't need to front load shit. Why don't you do a podcast with Derek now? Derek is too busy, man. He barely makes any content. I mean, I make barely any content. We're kind of in that retirement mode, you know. It's Derek is very busy with his businesses and his girlfriend, and he did it like me, like several years of just fucking 80 hours per week, and at one point it catches up with you, you know. So he's selective on how he manages his time, and again, I think he still works more than I do. I'm kind of done. I'm kind of over it. I did it since I was 15 years old. This grind. And when I was 40 and I had my daughter, I'm like, for what? I just want to live my life. You look at your bank account, you got so many zeros, and you're not doing anything with it. I want to do something with it. And Derek, I think, is the same. He has plenty of zeros in the bank account. He has his reputation. He's loved and respected. But a large majority of the community, like I am, you know, do you have haters? Of course, but who the fuck cares? Right? They're not affecting your life if you just ignored it. So Derek is busy, and maybe he doesn't want to do content with me after, or maybe he wants to be on, you know, those bigger podcasts and doing podcasts with me, since I still do hardcore bodybuilding content and very drug focused. Maybe that's a reason. I don't know. But we talk occasionally. We always talk on good terms, and it's very fun and you know, good to catch up with the guy. He's living his life. I'm living my life. Would I like to do a podcast with him? Yeah, sure. If it ever comes to it, I just don't think so. I think he's very selective on how he spends his time and who he does collaborations with. And right now he just does collaborations with bigger platforms because that's worth his time. And you got to be very selective because he's very in demand, and I'm very selective on how I spend my time as well. Because we put in our 80 hours per week for multiple years, and sometimes you just, you know, you'd rather talk to me on WhatsApp or on a phone call for an hour than do a podcast. You know, so you don't have to pay, you don't really have to mind what you're in. It's a more natural conversation that way, like between friends, not for the sake of making content, you know. Like when I talk with Kurt and Dean, it's like a 20-minute pre-show and a 30-minute post-show. I think I talked with Dean for about an hour after the last Anabolic Roundtable, and I was like, man, I gotta go, dude. It's fucking 12 o'clock at night. So, and that's a way more casual conversation. So me and Derek have casual conversations. It's not meant for public disclosure in the form of a podcast. And, you know, if he doesn't want to make content, like I don't want to make content, then you got to respect it, because you guys have no idea how much time we put into the shit through research and content production and sacrifices that we made. And now it's kind of the time to enjoy the fruits of our labor. So if he wants to, No, I mean, I can't speak for him, but if he wants to do the thing he does with the money that he has, then you should let him. And it's the same for me. So Steve Winters' new videos, I don't know, when I feel like it. You know, I still do these live streams, which I enjoy. And I'll probably do the SS31 deep dive, but when, I don't know, man. Things keep coming up. When my daughter needs me, that's more important to me. No sleep tonight. ChatGPT has said androgens reduce the production of ApoE in the liver through gene expression suppression, less ApoE resulting in lower measured LPA. Does this sound correct? Well, ApoE is a protein within the LDL molecule, and LP(a), lipoprotein(a), is a type of LDL carrier that has like a little tail, which promotes plaque buildup more than regular LDL. It's a genetic defect, and it could be through protein folding. All right. Man, like it's fucking not in a good position. I might need to slide down a little bit. All right. How's this? 250 tests, 75 Primo, 50 Trend, GW1516 for cardio, injectable glutathione, retardetide, NAC, NAD, methylene blue, gorilla-mind multivitamin, coenzyme Q10, Xanthine, take that out, doesn't work. Tutka, melatonin, P5P, am I good? I don't know, what does your blood work tell you? You know? I don't know if you're good. This sounds like a fine stack to me. You got your antioxidants covered. You got your nootropics covered. You got your multivitamins covered. Coenzyme Q10, I think it's better if you take ubiquinol. Xanthine doesn't do shit. Tutka, you got your liver covered. You got your injectable glutathione for your liver as well. Melatonin, P5P. And again, the increased serotonin from the methylene blue will help with the increased melatonin to keep you sleepy as an antioxidant as well. I think you're good, bro. I think you're good, but your blood work will tell you more than this stack. Side note, Brad Pitt doesn't have that problem with his wife. Didn't he get married like a couple times? He has problems with his kids, though. I think all his kids hate him. And one of his kids actually changed their last name. Fuck you, TMZ, for telling that to me without asking. I'm going to let this one slide. But only once. $5. Are you going to trial antidepressants again? No, so I'm off to fluvoxamine. Like when I had that accident, I stopped the telmisartan, the ezetimibe, the empagliflozin, and the telmisartan because you never know, or the fluvoxamine because you never know how that's going to affect the surgery and what drugs they administer to the surgery. Like they never tell you, we're going to administer a spinal block, which is a cocktail of drugs, and they're gonna give you anesthesia, which is a cocktail of drugs, and you never know. Like, I got like 5 medications that I need to take, and I'd rather take all the drugs out than have to worry about potential drug interactions and not be able to start the medications that they recommend to me. So I just stopped all medications, dropped my TRT dose down, and then once I had a firm grasp of what I was administered and what I was needed to take to recover from this injury. I have like anticoagulants and all kinds of medications that I need to run to make the surgery a success and prevent deep vein thrombosis and inflammation, obviously. Then you can add stuff back in. So I wanted to run this ACD. Fuck, what was it? It's like another nootropic, ACD 856. Very promising. Makes the brain more susceptible to brain-derived neurotrophic factor, is a potential medication for Alzheimer's disease, and it works through the 5-HT2A receptor. So that's a serotonin receptor basically that also gets affected from fluvoxamine. So there's a drug interaction there, which I didn't want to risk. I'd already have a potential drug interaction with methylene blue and fluvoxamine, but one is a MAOI inhibitor, increasing serotonin levels and dopamine and norepinephrine levels. So you have increased serotonin, and then the fluvoxamine kind of modulate how the receptors respond to the serotonin. But taking this ACD 856 modulates serotonin receptors, and then the fluvoxamine modulates serotonin receptors. I don't think that's a good idea. So I wanted to take the fluvoxamine out before I trialed that, and now that opportunity is there. So now I'm stacking methylene blue with this ACD. What is the dose that I'm taking? I got a dropper, so ACD. I think it's 5 minutes. Oh no, 2 milligrams per day. I don't even know. I took it for 2 days. God, this. This AI from Google is fucking shit, dude. What was the dose that I'm taking? Oh yeah, 5 milligrams. Oh no, 10 milligrams. Sorry, 10 milligrams. So that's like the low dose, and they go up to 90 milligrams. But so I'm taking this for 2 days now, and I'm in a good mood. I feel pretty cognitive, besides missing out that APOE. But hey, you know, I know a lot, but I don't know everything. So I'm going to trial the methylene blue and the ACD for a while, see how I feel. I believe there's some tolerance buildup after about 2 weeks, so I want to experience that. In the meantime, I use this adenosine receptor agonist or antagonist, the KW. So energy levels are good. And I just got to make sure that it doesn't interfere with wound healing. Oh, Jackson is just sending me a message. Said, guys, 10 milligrams a day is the dose you're taking. Bro, he knows more about this than I do. I'm taking so much shit right now, I can't remember. So thanks, Jackson, for informing me what I was doing. But it's, yeah, after the second day, I put on my story, right? I put that that Argent remix of Mario 64. So you have Mario 64 versus Doom Metal, Argent Metal. Fuck, man, I've been listening to that all day, and it's hitting all the right spots. I'll tell you that. Way better than fluvoxamine, bro. All things considering, I'm in a pretty fucking good mood today. So I have a look into that. I'm not sure, Jackson, are you selling that already, the ACD? Or are you trialing everything on me before you start to sell this? I'm just going to send Steve everything, and if he gives me the green light, then I'm going to sell it. And if he dies, he dies. Then we won't sell it. The fucking human guinea pig. I did the research, though. It's a promising compound. I think people really like it. They get over depression and porn addiction and all that kind of stuff. But I'm addicted to my wife. Yeah, she's hot. Anyway. How good after valve test first pin? Yeah, until it runs out. How do you like the? Oh, so you're asking. Hope your wife and kids are doing well. Yeah, doing very well. Yeah, it just kind of sucks that I can't really play with my daughter now, because we were pretty physical running around the house and doing all kinds of flips and shit and throws and activities, and now I'm kind of handicapped. So, yeah. Yeah, and the wife is still getting her activity in, albeit that the pounding is less severe. So yeah, I like the ACD so far, 10 milligrams per day. Good stuff, man. Thanks for sending it over. I think if I didn't have that shit right now and it go into fluvoxamine, I think I'd be less in a good mood than I am right now. And tricep overhang is crazy. Yeah, man, it's overhead tricep extensions to... Well, when was this? 20 minutes ago? Oh. Yeah, I did my time, man. I did my time. It's not as big as it used to be, but I think it's pretty okay. I think it's pretty okay. I should take some update pictures again, but I don't expect too much. What happened to your old Instagram? It got deleted. Probably by Ellie Lilly. Because talk about hereditary tide. And I kept reporting my or one of the fucking pieces of shit that, that I don't like. Chiropractors, fake doctors, blackmailers. You never know, right? I mean, you never know. So, but I think it came from high up because I got a full IP ban, and that's why they're having difficulty getting my account back. And usually when you use these meta agents, you just pay them a amount, and they kind of reset it for you, and then you need to change your phone number and your email, and remove all the reels or posts that could potentially get flagged. But when I got my account back, I was in the US, and then somebody kept reporting my reels from 2023, and most of them were peptide content. So I have a little bit of inside talk. So it could be Eli Lilly team that are reporting a lot of accounts now. Several accounts got taken down. And they're trying to do that with YouTube as well, but YouTube is a little bit more resilient. But yeah, a lot of the peptide content and a lot of the educators are getting attacked right now. And it's very likely that that's Eli Lilly. Which all they need to do is just send a letter. Said, hey, we prefer you not to talk about tirzepatide or retatrutide or any of our products. Sure, man. I'm taking my account down. Again, if it's Eli Lilly, it's kind of pathetic. And if it's a competitor, hey, man, it's all I have to do is pay $2,000 and take your account down. Doesn't cost that much, man. And Meta is corrupt as fuck, so you just pay, and the people at the team there, at the end of the day, they'll take accounts down or restore them. It's kind of fucked up that way. That's why I don't really want to force too much effort into a new account, because I don't know if it's going to get taken down again. And I know so many people got their accounts taken down on Meta. It's just a shitty platform, on Instagram. Facebook is the same, it's just a shit platform. YouTube is the way to go. And if this account gets taken down, then, I don't know. Again, I don't need it. Unlike the other educators, I don't need this. I'm set. I'm done forever. I don't need to work. All right, so it's not the end of the world. It will be sad. I'll just post everything on Rumble so you guys have access to it if you want to watch it. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, that's just the state of the world, man. Either competitors or the industry is just trying to censor you. And I think we can all have a little bit of a laugh at each other. I think the fake doctors out there, we can have a little laugh, or the blackmailers or whatever. But to bring somebody's account down, that's like that. There's like stabs and there's low life shit. But then again, there's levels to the shit, and the bodybuilding space attracts a lot of degenerates. That's what we have to share it with, So, what can you do? What can you do? I mix up my cardio between steady state and HIIT 3 days of each a week. I think using Cardarine and injectable albuterol yohimbine would increase my heart rate too much during HIIT. On HIIT days, when would you use Cardarine and yohimbine? So I would do Cardarine on HIIT days and then injectable yohimbine albuterol on steady state. I mean, you kind of answered your own question here. And yohimbine and albuterol, or yohimbine and clenbuterol, should be metabolized. Clenbuterol has a longer half-life, so maybe albuterol is better, because if you do yohimbine and albuterol injectable before steady state, it should be metabolized the next day by the time you do HIIT. But clenbuterol might still be in your system and affect the heart rate too much when you do a HIIT session. So yeah, I think you take the Cardarine before the HIIT, and maybe SLU and MOD-C to really improve your stamina. Like myoinositol tripyrophosphate, you would need to take continuously because it takes some time to build up that oxygen carrying capacity. But yeah, injectable albuterol, that's in and out, and injectable clenbuterol is pretty in and out too, man. I like the injectable clenbuterol. Good stuff. Good one for you. If by all means need to keep as much hair as possible, how to combine testosterone and other anabolics from other families without... Dude, we just... What are you doing, man? We just did a whole fucking anabolic roundtable about this. Go watch that. Take your money back and go watch that. What the fuck is wrong with you? I just released a podcast 2 hours. We discussed about that. A TRT dose, topical dutasteride, topical minoxidil, topical RU58841. No other anabolics besides maybe nandrolone. And that's it. But I wouldn't take oral dutasteride. Garrick loves root beer. Yes, the gayest Star Trek character. Even though I'm not gay, I also like root beer. And I like prune juice. A warrior's drink. If you know, you know. Prune juice with a little bit of rum. Yes, please. Hey, Steve, what are your thoughts on EQ versus nandrolone on the test add-on? Never used nandrolone before, debating between 500 tests, 275 mass, 275 MPP. Just try to test it, 700 tests, 350 EQ. Do whatever works for you. And the only really way of knowing what works for you is by getting your hands dirty. So if 700 tests and 350, 700 tests, 350 EQ worked, why change? If it made your joints dry and you felt like you felt a little bit compromised during heavy lifts, then maybe give 500 tests, 275 mass, and 275 NPP a try. Maybe you get better joint lubrication and more strength out of that than the 700 tests and 350 NPP for a similar amount of androgens per week. Right? It's both around 1,000 milligrams weekly. Personally, I would feel my joints would be better protected on 500 tests, 275 mass, and 275 NPP versus 700 tests and 350 EQ. But maybe that's a non-issue for you. Maybe you like the increased hematocrit and the increased roundness and fullness without too much water retention. I think you'll be more water retentive on the stack with nandrolone, even though there's masteron in the picture, than test and EQ. So again, try it, see what you like. In the end, you do what works best for you and gives you the best blood work and the best results comparatively, right? For the blood work and the side effects that you maybe not be so happy with. Outside of testing GH, what PEDs would you say have the highest safety profile? Anavar. Yeah, that's still medically used. Test GH, Anavar. I think that's pretty much it. Anavar is well studied. Unlike what some people say, Trembolone is not well studied. Masteron is not well studied. Primo is not well studied. Proviron is not well studied. Halotestin is well studied. Anadrol is well studied. Dianabol is not well studied. So I would say that halotestin doesn't have a high safety profile, but it's well studied in the context of humans. So test GH Anavar. I think that's it. Insulin, obviously. IGF-1, but you can get that from GH. Test GH, insulin, and Anavar. I think that's the safest drugs you can take. Yeah, and insulin with the caveat, obviously, because you can kill yourself if you're dumb, but insulin is a fast way to fix stupid. All it takes is one shot. All it takes is one stupid administration. Have you done any research on ATX 304? Yeah, so I did some research on that. It's on the way, but I won't be able to run it because it might lower protein synthesis and impair anabolism. But it seems like a very promising fat burner, upregulates mitochondrial function, doesn't really seem to cause oxidative stress. And if anything, it minimizes oxidative stress, even though it's a slight mitochondrial uncoupler like BAM15 or DNP. So this is the only mitochondrial uncoupler I'm willing to try in the future. Once it arrives and I'm over this injury, I'll give it a run. It seems very promising. All the reports that I read said that body temperature did increase, but that fat loss was good, and that fat loss was comparable to BAM15 for less body temperature increase. And people felt less wrecked on it. But I also read reports that people felt very fatigued, very lethargic, very sweaty on it. And is that then ATX304 or BAM15 or DNP? Never really know, right? Where these people get their sources from. Do they get it from reputable labs that post their certificate of analysis and third-party testing of the ATX304 that they produce? So it's either sold as O304 or ATX304. And I can't wait to try it, but is not the right time to try it because it might impair protein synthesis through AMPK and mTOR pathways. And that's not something that I'm interested in because it does have a longer half-life. It takes a couple days to build up. So like with MOTS C, downregulating protein synthesis potentially, okay, 4 hours maximum. But ATX, that's, what is the half-life? 304. I think it's quite long. Oh, 130 to 160 hours. So that's 5.5 to 6.5 days on 100 milligrams. And it's in preclinical models. So yeah, it's that's not something you would take lightly. But so I'm willing to give that. It seems like a perfect compound to take when you're fasting, along 5-amino-1-MQ and epithalon. Yeah, I think that would cause dramatic fat loss. My grandpa, 78, just got a hip replacement surgery, type 2 diabetic. For months, he's been losing strength in her hand grip. It's bad. Giving her... I can't comment on this. I don't do seniors. So I don't know, bro. It's a risk you're going to have to take based on your own research. It's not something I advise on. Because hip replacement surgery, type 2 diabetic, those are both medical injuries. She's a grandma. She's 80 years old. It's not something that I do. So you're going to have to do the research and make your own informed decision. It's not something I can do for you. Abandon another person. Do lower dose of Masteron still age you like higher dose, just like 200 to 300 milligrams a week? Not as bad. But yeah, the higher dose, just it seems that it oxidizes people in the skin. So whether that's a carcinogenic effect or increased oxidative stress, or just, the Masteron crowd running anything below 1,000 milligrams or less, they don't do it. So they run 1 to 2 grams of Masteron. And that's why they look so atrocious in the skin, at least. I mean, they got muscle, but it's not a nice look. So... I don't know. Run it and see if it makes you look horrible. My skin is pretty fucking good now, and this glow stack and the antioxidants and, not training. My skin looks great. Look at the separation, bro. What the fuck? End of the day, too. Don't ask about my abs. They're non-existent. A lot of water retention in the waist, but it is what it is. Steve, are high concentrations pharmacoblends not indexed on the AP because of the EO solvents? No, so we found out that they use glycol. So that's why I didn't index it. So if they use glycol or ethyl oleate, it just don't index it. Same as the pharmaco or the AP or the belly gas. I just don't index it. If you want to buy it, it's your own risk. But I only index stuff that I would personally take and recommend. Unfortunately, some of the sources do sell stuff that I don't recommend. So SARMs are not indexed. MK677, I know it's worked. It's not a SARM. YK11 is a steroid. It's classified as a SARM. And Steve, you say that SARMs don't work. Well, YK11 is a steroid, you stupid fuck. Look at the chemical structure. Anavar and Trembolone are also SARMs at low and effective dosages, but they're steroidal SARMs. YK11 is a steroidal SARM, and it works. Unlike Osterine and RAD140 and that kind of shit. And it has a unique characteristic that increases follistatin levels and has some, myostatin inhibiting effects that you don't get elsewhere. So I take it and did index it because my results were good. My results were not good with Osterine. So, again, point your finger and I point it right back with 2 middle fingers right back at you, you piece of shit. Not your question, but, people in general that like to complain instead of solving problems. So yeah, if it's not indexed, it's because I don't believe in the product. And if it's indexed, it's because I believe in the product. Follow up, if 350 test puts me around 64 picograms per milliliter of estradiol, how much EQ to bring estradiol into favorable range? Starting at 100? Yeah, 100, 150. You probably end up at around 50 picograms per milliliter. I think 150. But again, blood work you need to do to see what happens, because some people have a very sensitive response to EQ because of the metabolites. So the EQ might inhibit it or potentially convert it to estrone, which then it requires more steps to convert into estradiol. But then the EQ might inhibit it, and the three metabolites, including the dihydroboldenone that might form from injectable boldenone as well. Yeah, so you got like 5 potential pathways to inhibit aromatase enzyme expression or activity, and they all lower estradiol separately. $600 test, $600 EQ, $300 NPP, estradiol 13. Lower EQ and raise the test. I'm a low aromatizer, or does EQ really crush estradiol this much? No, that sounds about right. Unless it's all underdosed and you're actually injecting 100 milligrams a test, then your estradiol could also be 13. But yeah, I would go with 750 test, 500 EQ, and leave the NPP the same, and then reassess 6 weeks from now. It should be long enough. It should be going up. Will it be normal? Maybe not yet. Maybe not yet. Let me scroll down a little bit. Guys, anybody flooding the chat with 1 million messages, you get put in timeout. I don't have time for it. Doesn't even matter if you have good intention. Write your message, think it out. We're not going to spam the chat with spam messages. The ban hammer is strong. Lauren, also for the MIG blend and Lipo C blends, does timing really matter on these? How do you suggest cycling these blends for the best results? You take them for as long as you need increased fat mobilization, and I would take them around activity to enhance blood circulation to and from the tissue where the lipolysis needs to take place, the fat mobilization needs to take place, and the fat absorption needs to take place. So if you take a MIG blend, Lipo C, carnitine, anything that causes lipolysis, I would take it around activity, whether it's growth hormone, AOD, HGH frag, clenbuterol, mirabegron, yohimbine, ribulsine, albuterol, MIG blend carnitine, and all that shit, take it around activity, because that's when you need fat mobilization from adipose tissue to the mitochondria for fat oxidation and ATP production. And if it has a longer or shorter half-life, I'm sure it will all overlap with your activity. But that's the best way to do it. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Do you take tirzepatide? I took it for many years, but now I take retatrutide. I've been taking low-dose retatrutide for a couple of months now. I might switch you to Anhedonia. Yeah, so if you suffer from Anhedonia, go watch that podcast that we discussed. I think it's kind of overrated. I think people who get Anhedonia from these kinds of medications are just not eating enough neurotransmitter precursors. And again, if you experience anhedonia from retatrutide, you'll probably get that from tirzepatide as well, because it's a neurotransmitter imbalance caused by the GLP-1 and GIP receptors, not necessarily the glucagon, but it could have an overlapping effect added through the agonism of these receptors. Does the glucagon agonism make it worse? I mean, the glucagon agonism of retatrutide is relatively weak, but it's a compounding beneficial effect. If you want true glucagon agonism, intermittent fasting, or glucagon injections, so, and then ketogenic diet with intermittent fasting and retatrutide and glucagon injections, man, and empagliflozin and growth hormone, that's some serious fat loss right there. Yeah, you're welcome. But the anhedonia might still be there in tirzepatide, so you would need to address that with L-tyrosine or tesofensine or the vitamin B6, B5P supplementation, right, to bring your dopamine levels up. And again, if your intestinal tract is not producing the precursors for these neurotransmitters, the L-dopa, or absorbing the tyrosine properly, then it's a diet issue. It's a diet issue. Yeah, but it can kind of numb you, to alcohol, recreational drugs, sex. It happens. You're probably just not eating. The dose is too high. You're not eating enough. And you'll see it if you reduce the dose and you eat a little bit more, the fat loss will still be sufficient, significant, satisfactory, but the side effects will be non-existent. Duo athlete here on 250 tests, 150 EQ, 20 milligrams GW, cardine, Pre-workout 2.5 milligrams Nebivolol, 40 milligrams Telmisartan. Any other compounds for VO2 max? I would take the Nebivolol out because I think that lowers VO2 max. I want to get mine from 68 HIF inhibitors. I'm not too familiar with those. I would take the Nebivolol out and look into myoinositol triopower phosphate. 300 milligrams a week. Yeah. Intense dieting personally worsened my anhedonia. Yeah, so just eat more food, dude. Reduce retatrutide and eat more food. It's the same with all the people who have post-contest blues. Nutrition is so important. It's even more important when you take these GLP-1 receptor agonists because they slow your digestion and might make you reduce the absorption of B vitamins and iron, for example, and make you anemic. Or have loss of bone mineral density through the impairment of the absorption of minerals. So you need to fix your diet first before you use these drugs, not use these drugs to fix your diet and just eat less garbage food. You really need to eat healthy, sustainable, home-cooked food sources because you have zero appetite. So whatever you eat needs to be highly nutritious. We're talking about salmon, beef liver, quality chicken, not the shitty chicken, quality chicken, right? The free-roaming chicken, free-roaming egg products, avocados, nuts, seeds, chia seeds, the probiotics like sauerkraut. You know, I eat healthy 9 days or 6.5 days a week, and then Sunday for half a day I go ballistic. So who the fuck cares about that? And ballistic is not really ballistic anymore. I have a steak and some ice cream or some cheesecake. Oh fuck! Steak is still nutritious. It might just have some sweet potato fries on the side and a little bit of too much ketchup, and the cheesecake obviously has zero fucking nutrition and some saturated fats. But the best thing to answer most of the questions today is just to eat healthy. It's to eat healthy. Why do you think my skin looks so good? Why do you think I'm fucking walking 1 week after surgery? I'm walking. It's already reattaching. I recover like this. Do the peptides help? Sure. Does a lifetime of good nutrition helps? I'm 100% sure of it. When I broke my leg in a motorcycle accident and I had road rash all over my arm, my nutritional status of my body was so good, my skin was literally growing through the gauze. And every day they had to change the gauze, right? The Band-Aids. And my skin would already be in there. They would literally have to rip it off or make it wet and then peel it off. That's how fast you recover when you're healthy. Like my wife told me today, so why do so many foreigners in Thailand have ashtray face? I said, because they don't live healthy. They drink a lot of alcohol. They smoke. They just, people don't take care of themselves. And then they need retatrutide to get lean. But if you have a lifetime of taking care of yourself, then these medications, they don't improve your health because there's no health to improve. You're already healthy and you don't need to take so much. Again, my dose of retatrutide is pretty high because I've been taking these GLP-1 receptor agonists for a very long time. I started with liraglutide and promoted myself to tirzepatide, then retatrutide, so that's several years on it. And it just allows me to not think about food, which was a life. I basically have a food addiction. I just think about food 24/7. I was sick of it. I was fucking sick of it. That's why I take a high dose. I'm sick of thinking about food. It's fucking exhausting. I want to think about making money. And I think because I took that food noise away and allowed myself to focus more on business without having this distraction, whether I was dieting or not, allowed me to be very financially secure. Because instead of thinking about cheesecake, I was able to think about making more money. And now I don't have to work. Now it's just a passion project. So if you experience anhedonia, eat better and reduce the dose. Do you have a post-apocalyptic Stair tier list? It might be fun to do. I would do testosterone. Yeah, testosterone because you retain a lot of fluid. And in a post-apocalyptic world, obviously, just water is going to be hard to find. That tap is going to be turned off, no electricity. You might have to suck the dew off the leaves. So you want to be the most water attentive and the most joint lubricated in a post-apocalyptic world without too much anger and too much of a caloric boost or metabolic boost like some of the other steroids do. I would do testosterone. Yeah, testosterone. That's S tier for post-apocalyptic world. And it seems to be pretty good for wound healing as well. Doesn't thin your skin, like DHTs are not so good for wound healing. That's why I took the DHT Enanthate out. Because it alters your skin thickness, and that's not what you want, Maybe Anavar. Yeah, Anavar, if you can find it. Yeah, 200 tests, 150 NPP or nandrolone and 10 milligrams Anavar per day. I think that's good. Yeah, I think you can defeat all the zombies like that. Trenbolone is a female hormone. Well, it is made from estradiol. What's up, bro? Oh, let's get some water in. I mean, people say that the injectable SLU is so much more potent than doing the powder, but I injected 10 milligrams SLU and I can't say, or 7.5 milligrams SLU, and I can't say that it was so dramatic like 400 milligrams powder. So did it work for the 2 weeks that I was taking it? Yeah, absolutely. Was it comparable to 100 milligrams powder? I don't know. I don't know what the dose conversion is, man. I think it's orally bioavailable just fine, and it worked at 1 milligram per day, and it certainly worked at 400 milligrams per day. And the 7.5 milligrams injectable SLU that I did for 2 weeks and maybe a couple days on 1 milligram SLU, it also worked. So give it a try. See what's benefit, but injecting 300 milligrams is going to be difficult, obviously. No question, just wanted to show some support. Cheers, fellas. All right, much appreciated, bro. Much appreciated. Welcome to the Vigorous crew. Just don't forget to get your questions in. I mean, you got that green badge and everything, so might as well use it. Steve, would taking Lantus as an athlete make sense if food intake is high, or is GLUT4 expression already high enough for increased nutrient shuttling? Training 2 times a day. What kind of athlete? Kind of depends, There's every athlete has a certain drug protocol and stuff that they do well with and they don't do well with. If you're an athlete, insulin is going to put weight on you and it might hinder performance. On the other hand, if you're doing like a marathon or cycling or really endurance sports and your body weight levels are pretty low, and you're eating a lot of or drinking a lot of simple sugars and carbs, then yeah, Lantus will go a long way. It also means you can't go without food during the race or during the activity. So at home, while you're just cycling up a storm at the comfort of your home next to the kitchen, sure. If you're doing an actual race, probably not. And again, the GLUT4 expression will be enough to absorb it, but you might get a performance boost by using a low-dose Lantus to help with nutrient shuttling. Will it be detrimental to your weight if you only train once or twice per day and you're eating a boatload of food? Yeah, perhaps. Again, you have to look at the total picture. Just wanted to show some love, Steve. You've been a lot of help to us. Started my first cycle. I know a lot of people say test only, but I threw in 4 years of growth hormone, but itching to add a second compound. Yeah, at least do some blood work first and see how your water retention is, and then take it from there. You can add in a second compound maybe 8 weeks into it just to get your hands dirty. Do you need it? Probably not. But is it fun to experiment? Sure it is. And then it's up to you what to try next. Is that, if GH is your second compound, okay, fine. Anavar, third, or Primo, third, sure. It depends on what you want, man, and how the results of the GH and test is going so far. And again, didn't you just sign up as a member? Oh, no, that's a different username. All right, welcome to the Vigorous crew. First question, smart How did you tighten up your training volume over time? When you did that 2-gram test cycle, you slowly upped over time. You mentioned in the video you did 2 sessions a day. What's that total weekly volume like? Man, I can't remember, but I did everything to failure, and it was a lot. But I felt that I was so fatigued after training one body part because I lifted a lot of weights, and lifting a lot of weights also means that you have to rack and unrack the weights, which takes a lot of energy out of you. And it was pretty fucking hot at that time at Muscle Factory, training in the morning. So I felt that my second body part was not so good. So I maybe did 16 sets for the major body part. Muscle. So let's say you do legs one day, you do quads, calves in the morning, maybe 16, 20 sets in total, most of them to failure. And then hamstrings in the evening, 8 sets, 12 sets. Would I train like that now? No. I learned a lot. I would probably increase the volume or increase the frequency and reduce the volume, and then increase the intensity, but do less sets. So now, up until the quad tear, I did 1 set per exercise, 4 to 6 exercises per body parts, and then twice per week. So push twice per week, push twice per week. Let's see, quads or legs twice per week, and back once per week, because I have enough back. I don't need to train it twice per week. So that's 5 workouts a week. Chest, 2 times 6 exercises, 12 sets in total over the week. Same for shoulders. Triceps, I would do maybe 6 to 8 sets over the week. And then quads, 12 sets. Hamstrings, 12 sets. Glutes, 6 sets. Calves, 6 sets. Yeah, it seemed to work well. But the dosages were lower and the food intake was different. So you got to put everything together, man. But yeah, I was on 2.5 grams a test and 8 IUs or 4 to 6 IUs of growth hormone. I felt like I could train all day. But I was also 32 or 35 years old, and now I'm 42 and broken with a lot more responsibilities. Like back then, I was just doing bodybuilding coaching. That's fucking easy, man. It's not a difficult job. It's very repetitive, and you can do it half asleep, especially if you have a lot of experience. Like making YouTube videos with scientific deep dives and thinking about possible drug interactions and making sure that it's digestible for the audience, that was way more difficult. So I really had to reduce my training volume and my drug intake and my bodybuilding aspirations just to be a little bit more cognitively present. Yeah, that means you can't do 2.5 gram test cycles and 2 sessions a day. It just takes away from productivity. But at least I gained the experience, Like how many hardcore bodybuilders do you see being highly productive? Not from a bodybuilding perspective, but, from a information sharing perspective, not so much. Takes a lot out of you. Any issues with taking amla extract and citrus bergamot concomitantly? Concurrently? No, that's what I do. 1,200 milligrams amla extract and 1,000 milligrams citrus bergamot per day, and my HDL is 50 and LDL is low, but that's because of the ezetimibe. Not because of this. Do you think it's a good idea combining retatrutide with liraglutide so you get the GIP and glucagon from the Reta and the boost of GLP-1 when you need more suppression, or it's just better to titrate the Reta? Could. Like, if you feel like one day your appetite is a little bit high, then maybe dose 0.6 to 1.2 milligrams liraglutide for the day, and then you have a little bit of an overlap into the next day. It could try that. I never thought about that, but you could. Again, with the Retas, you have like Friday. Oh, yesterday, yeah. So I dosed 5 milligrams last week, and then on Friday, and then I skipped Monday, and then this Friday I did a shot, but it's been a week since the last injection because obviously I'm not going to do an injection in the hospital, and I need to look into the drug interactions before I start stacking all this shit together. So I did 5 milligrams retatrutide yesterday. Today I got good appetite suppression, but yesterday I was kind of thinking about food. Would 0.6 to 1.2 milligrams liraglutide taken away the food noise? I think so. Being more consistent with a Reta dose, it would not give me food noise, obviously, but I skipped an injection. And then a week later, the food noise was kind of creeping back up to me. So yeah, I had an extra serving of fruit. Sue me. Sue me, bro. I had a couple extra dry bananas and a little bit more mango. Straight to jail. Straight to jail. This fucker cheated on his diet. Tomorrow I got to meet the doctor, so I don't even have time. And I really, off topic, Benjamin, off topic. I really want to see Mortal Kombat. And that means, oh, we're really behind. I'm going to turn off the super chat, guys. It's there. Don't do it. I really want to see Mortal Kombat, but we can't do it tomorrow because tomorrow I got to meet the doctor to kind of see how the incision went in the surgery, and they're probably going to do an ultrasound on my leg. So tomorrow there will be no dinner because we only have a couple hours during the afternoon, and then, we got to take care of our daughter and feed her and do playtime and stuff. So I'll do Mortal Kombat on Monday, 1 week post-surgery. So we'll go to the cinema with crutches, and then I'll have my cheat meal. I think the Reddit tat can hold me over until Monday, and then Monday I'll have some sushi and some ice cream or something, some popcorn, some Garrett's, small, share with my wife, and then I might have to bring don't tell anybody. I told my wife, once we're in cinema, I'm stuck. And I can't leave. I can't go out to pee. So I'm going to have to bring an empty bottle. We got those lounge chairs. You got like the IMAX theaters, right? You got all the seating chairs, but I can't do that because I need to extend my leg. So let's remove. We're not talking about this question anymore. So we got the lounge chairs in the back of the cinema where you get like a bed, sofa bed, and then you get blankets and stuff. And I told my wife, I'm going to sneak in an empty water bottle in a paper bag. And then if I have to go, I'm going to go right there. In the cinema. I've been practicing it at the home and at the hospital, filling up those bottles. It's half cripple. But I'm not walking down the cinema in the dark. So we're going to be there early and leave late. I don't think there's a post-credit scene, but yeah, I'm crazy enough to go to the cinema 1 week post-surgery when I'm not supposed to be walking. But I really want to see Mortal Kombat in the cinema. I've been looking forward to that movie so much. Right? And if I end up being a fatality, so be it, man. I'm at 1,600 to 700 calories, 270 protein, 80 carbs, 25 fats. 5 weeks out for my men's physique show. Can I fit in one basket blueberry? 5 weeks out? No. Unless you don't want to win. But at 5 weeks out, there's no more cheat meals. There's only refeeds. Do not become addicted to water, my friends. No. During the post-apocalypse, you'll be sorry that you did. You need that aldosterone to be high. Just offering thanks for all the info, resources you've given. Because of you, I have fully shifted into the lifestyle. And now cycling the right way with the right precautions, and that's invaluable. Heal up, Papa Steve. Thanks so much, man. I'm happy to hear that. These kinds of stories, it's that's why we did it, right? Like all the cool people that I met at the Arnold Classic that told me something similar. That's why I did it. Will I reach everybody to this extent? Probably not. But for the people that connected the dots with some of the information I provided and other people in the fitness industry provided, thank you, because that's ultimately our legacy. And I know it don't work so much, but all the knowledge is there. And I think besides the people over at Think Big and Paul Burnett and me, like I'm a retired bodybuilding coach, right? Paul is still coaching, Scott Stevenson, or he only does consultation, so he's retired. So Paul Burnett, Scott McNally, Skip Hill, right? The OG online bodybuilding coach. He's the OG, man. He started it first. The online, right? Chris Aceto was one of the first in-person coaches, but Skip Hill was the online bodybuilding coach. And then Andrew Barry, like that's 4 besides me. but I'm retired. There's literally 5 coaches out there that put in a body of work that we did of giving all of our information away for free. Right? Kurt is a great coach, but he only does the Anabolic Roundtable. Dean is a great coach, but only does the Anabolic Roundtable, and they didn't produce so many YouTube videos, right? Even though they contributed to the fitness industry quite a bit. Their body of knowledge that's online available for free is not as extensive as these 4 people that I mentioned, right? And Chase did an excellent body of knowledge, but he was never a bodybuilding coach. Same for Derek, never a bodybuilding coach. And Greg Doucette was a bodybuilding coach, but his body of knowledge... Dave Palumbo, maybe. Even though it's a little bit outdated, I mean, there's still some good nuggets there, even though there's shit that I really don't agree with. And when I hear him talk, I'm like, fuck Dave, man, open up a textbook for the first time in 10 years. His body of knowledge is pretty extensive. And personally, I don't like him. I don't like his audience for sending my wife death threats. Fucking pathetic. But hey, again, not every audience is as educated as here, because the barrier of entry is high, unlike some other educators. So there's literally 5 bodybuilding coaches or 4 bodybuilding coaches that gave away all of their information for free over the course of many years, over many YouTube videos that you guys can learn from. And to hear that from somebody else with an avatar like this, like, it was really a big difference. Or meeting you guys at the Arnold Classic or the Mr. Olympia, that means the world to us. Yeah, that means the world to us, because we literally put our heart and soul into it, and that's way more than most coaches ever did. They gatekeep the information. It's only for my clients. I only have the secrets. Dude, there are no fucking secrets. And if there were secrets, they're out and exposed from Scott, Skip, Andrew, Paul, or me. It's all out there. The injectable adenosine monophosphate, right? Before the contest. We never do that. Yes, you do. But you heard it from Skip and me already. It's not a secret. We already put that out there, and I heard it from Skip. Skip put it out there decades ago. We never do that before the contest. It's an option. It's an option, right? So anyway, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but yeah, there's not many people who put out so much information that came from experience, not from research. Research is only half the story. And we have a lot of perplexity researchers out there that literally read off a script, but the knowledge isn't there because they didn't put in a decade or more of bodybuilding coaching, right? And that's where you gain the real knowledge. Right? The scientific evidence is what you wipe your ass with if you have knowledge. It's just something to take the shit away. Right? So you can be evidence-based, but experience-based bodybuilders know that the scientific evidence doesn't always play out. That's why I do evidence-based and experience-based content until I retire. Anyway, thanks for the $20. I will go into the Cheesecake Fund on Monday. And go watch Mortal Kombat. I'm going tonight. Hey, dude, have fun, but don't spoil it for me. What I do want, you remember Mortal Kombat 2, right? Mortal Kombat 1, when it came out in 80 or 96? No, when was it? And the first Mortal Kombat movie. Fantastic, dude. Best fucking video game adaptation besides maybe the original Tomb Raider. And that was a good video game adaptation as well. And then Super Mario, the movie, the first one was also pretty good. So first Tomb Raider, first Mortal Kombat, and first the recent one, the Funimation one, not the first one. I'm sure you remember, Joshua. So those are good video game adaptations. What I secretly hope is that because in Mortal Kombat 2 Annihilation, they went with an entire new cast and they killed off Johnny Cage right away, right? The movie is going in 5 minutes, and then Shao Kahn shows up and he snaps the new actor's neck playing Johnny Cage. You're like, what the fuck? This was like the best character of the OG Mortal Kombat movie. What I really hope is that this is Mortal Kombat 2, right? Shao Kahn is going to show up. Right? God bless the tall actor that is doing it from the UK. I'm sure you guys remember his name. What I really hope is that Shao Kahn shows up in the first 5 minutes of the movie, the tournament starts, and Cole, yeah, Cole Young, right, that new character in the first Mortal Kombat movie, gets his neck snapped. If that happens, I'm going to laugh hysterically, and I'm going to be so happy. And I have a hunch this is exactly what they're going for, because this is what we all want, right? They killed off our favorite character, Johnny Cage, in Mortal Kombat 2 Annihilation, and now they're going to kill off Cole Young, or I don't even remember his name, for Johnny Cage to come back for the tournament. If that happens, dude, I'm going to watch this movie 10 times, and I might drop some acid on the second time around, even though it might increase the risk of falling. Anyway, I can't wait. I cannot fucking wait. And even though I'm crippled, I do want to watch this movie very badly. But I was supposed to go to Pattaya next week, and I had to cancel that trip because I can't drive like this. So that kind of sucks. Remember, for 3 months, Steve, how would anabolism size and look differ on 1 grams of test plus an AI versus 500 test and 500 Primo? Assuming you keep your estradiol around the same both. I think you'll look fuller on test than an AI, but also a little bit more watery, because test promotes a little bit more skin thickness and water retention at higher dosages. So your skin is a little bit thicker, you're a little bit more water retentive. You'll probably also be stronger. No, I think strength is pretty much the same. Anabolism would be pretty much the same. Strength would be pretty much the same, but the look would just differ. So on test, you might look a little bit fuller, but also more watery. Assuming that estradiol is comparable between 1 gram of test and 500 test and Primo. But cosmetically, I think you'll have more definition. Your skin would look nicer, even though 1 gram of test obviously converts more into DHT. It also makes your skin look nicer. In my opinion, for some people, it wrecks your skin. But for me, DHT always did good for my skin, man. I mean, when I was on DHT Enanthate, and I'm sure it's having some overlapping effects now, even though I stopped it one week ago. I mean, my skin texture was just improving by the day. I'm like, fuck, this is really nice. Now it's really good. Now my skin texture is really good, but I'm on the full-blown glow stack, you know? Yeah, it's like, so nice. Look at that marbly, look at these tan lines, bro. You think these will go away after 6 weeks of not going to the gym and not riding motorbike? So I think you'll look more imposing on 1 gram of test and more fuckable on 500 test, 500 Primo. So what do you want? Do you want to be imposing with a beard or fuckable like a Luke Maxer? I don't know. All right, copy that. Paul Burnett is a hero and a scholar. Yeah, I agree. Paul's a joke? All right. Bye. Fuck off, dude. Get fucked. Why did it scroll all the way up? All right, let's continue a little bit more, and then we're gonna throw in the towel. Man, I'm so wired from this adenosine receptor agonist and the Gorilla Mind root beer, and even though I have to pee, the energy is still there, so we might as well continue. Urine is the correct word. YouTube censorship, yeah, terrible. Yeah, what the fuck are you smoking, dude? You're out of here for life. You say one word about the people I care about, you're done, dude. You just proved that I'd rather focus my time on 7 billion other people. So you just infantized your significance by saying something bad about the people I care about. Stupid. But hey, there's no cure for stupid. Well, insulin is a cure for stupid. Yeah, 100 IUs on a fasted stomach. 1 cc per day, bro. I would love to have bodybuilding clients, just weight loss so far. Oh, you're getting into the industry? Okay. Good, man. Get that money. Fucking dude. Shit, fair. Yeah, no knowledge, max questionable quality. Yeah, that's the OG Mortal Kombat. That Goro, man. That Goro. Fuck. Yeah, I think there's Goro is also in this movie, right? Dude, I can't wait, dude. I can't wait to watch this Mortal Kombat movie. I'm so excited. Welcome to the Vigorous crew. Hope Cole eats it too. He was boring. Yeah, it didn't make sense to make. Yeah, they always want to. I think this movie is very true to the source material, and I think Street Fighter 2, besides some poor casting choices, I think Street Fighter 2, the movie, is going to be very poor to the source material. It looks very campy and arcadey, and it's. I think it's even set in the 90s. So that's exactly what you want, right? And like they were giving shit about the Super Mario Galaxy movies, like it has no story. The princess is kidnapped. Go rescue the princess. That's the story, bro. That's the fucking story. Cookies didn't get the memo. So these they don't need to have a deep story, unless the game has a deep story. But you know, besides Tomb Raider, I mean, Tomb Raider, the story was pretty shit also. So I don't go there for the story. I go there to be entertained, to be reminded of the enjoyment that I had playing the video game. I don't expect the upcoming Zelda movie to have a great story, but I do expect to have some great fucking member berries while watching it, especially if they base it on Ocarina of Time. You know, hey, Star Fox. Switch 2. Now there's a reason to buy a Switch 2. Well, I don't get it, no? It doesn't matter how many times you post it. No more super chats. People still keep posting it. So Cookies, thanks for the $20. Mohammed, thanks for the $12. I gotta treat you guys like 2-year-olds. Anyway, thanks for your responses. Obviously, I know the oral version is... I know as far as oral, however, I love it. I seem to have above average health response genetics as far as response to pits. Would you say is a long-term sustainable dose of VAR? I know, 2.5, 5 milligrams a day. As long as your blood work is acceptable, then I would do it. But hey, no more super chats. I'll take it $20. Thanks, bro. Shake it, baby. Steve, how would you structure your meals on a deficit? I'm torn between insulin sensitivity and performance, for sticking 4 meals and a last meal keto and maybe 14-hour fast until breakfast. Dude, you're in deficit, man. Fucking don't overcomplicate it. How about you do 4 keto meals? Or 4 or 5 keto meals in a deficit? You're welcome. Yeah, some people are... It's every time you tell people to do something and then, or not to do something, and they still do it. I'm reminded of that time I went to Vietnam. I wanted to get a train ticket. And in Vietnam, there's no queues, or at least not in 2010. Maybe it's better now. So I go to the train station, and I'm trying to get a fucking train ticket. And nobody speaks English, obviously. And they're all queuing in front of me. I'm just slowly walking in front, waiting for my queue like a civilized human being. But I guess it didn't work in Vietnam. And after a while, after standing there for 45 minutes or 30 minutes, I'm like, fuck this, man. It's never getting any better. So... I just walked to the front, pushed everybody to the sides, put my money on the table, told her what I wanted, and I looked around me, and I was like, now it's my fucking turn to buy a fucking ticket. Right? Sometimes you just gotta forcefully do shit, even though you tried to do it nicely before. You know? And then if you have to tell somebody to GTFO, even though they paid you $20. Well, that's how it's gonna be. Big Bowser Cock and Princess Peach. Yeah. It's 5 a.m. in County. Oh, fuck you, Cookies. Now you're just throwing money at it. 5 more minutes and then I'm out of here. Are you based in Asia? You don't miss the Dutch rain. I don't miss anything about Holland, man. I think the best thing I did for my mental health and my quality of life was leaving Holland. And maybe that was my network. Or maybe that's Holland. I don't think I could have built what I have built over there because I felt like I wasn't myself. I felt I could be myself here in Thailand. Yeah, I felt more appreciated and more loved, and I felt more outgoing and not feel castrated all the time by the Dutch government and Dutch society. So I don't miss anything about Holland, man. I miss my family, but that's about it. I don't miss anything about Holland. Steve respects you enough to treat you like an adult and call out your stupidity. Yeah, it has to be done, man. I live in Sweden and it's gray 70% of the year. Yeah, get out, man. Find a way to get out. Europe is cooked. Too many taxes, too many shit foreigners. Like, I'm a foreigner, so I can say this. If you move to another country because you don't like the country where you come from, don't try to make the country where you go to a shit country. Let me say this again. If you leave the country because you don't like the country and you move to another country, don't try to worsen that country. You try to make that better with your presence. So I feel after 20 years in Thailand, Thailand is better, at least from a bodybuilding perspective, is better. And from an economic perspective, is better too. I didn't come here for welfare. I didn't come here to take the hardworking Thais tax dollars. I've never taken any of their benefits. Is it cheaper here? Sure. Do I benefit from that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I pay my way? Absolutely too. I never asked for a fucking handout here, not even once. I don't want to put a percentage on it, but in Europe, in the Western world, the people who do the exact opposite is high. Is high. And that's why the quality of Europe goes down, because the government tolerates that. Right? So I feel that if you want to live somewhere else, you need to fucking contribute. And I did that. And I see what a lot of people that move to America, at least in a bodybuilding space, like Flex Lewis, he comes from the UK, right? He went to the US, opened up a gym, contributes to the bodybuilding space. He's a contributor, not a, how do you say it, a taker. And I feel, especially in Europe, they made it so easy for takers to come in, that it ruined the quality of Europe. And that's one of the reasons why I don't want to go there anymore, because it's not bad. And look at Dubai, right? They got a lot of foreigners in, but they got the smart foreigners in. Not all of them, but you know, same as in Thailand. There's a lot of degenerates here as well. But I think as a country, you should only allow people in that strengthen your country as a whole. So yeah, and Dubai does that correctly. And what's the name? What is the country? Poland. Poland understand this, but most of Europe, it's just a charity, dude, at the expense of the hardworking people that live there. And what do they get? They feel unsafe. They don't feel respected for their hard work. Culture, their own culture gets suppressed. I mean, what are you gonna do but leave, dude? What are you gonna do but leave? You just go live somewhere else where you do feel loved and respected. And for me, that was here in Thailand. I felt loved and respected here, even though it's not my culture and not my religion. I mean, I'm not Christian, but I grew up in a Christian environment. Did I ever go to a church here? Do I care that there's minimal churches? No. I just adapted and adopted. Anyway, rant over. Came in late, my bad. Jesus Christ, man. 81K Bitcoin, do you think we can hit 100 again? Yeah, but it's very risky to get in right now, man. I sold everything. I did a couple small trades. I made a little bit of money on Ton. But when you look at the stochastic RSI, we're at the top of the downward trend. We broke a little bit through it a couple days ago. When you look at the fear and greed index, it's at the top of the downward trend. So we haven't broken through any of significant resistances yet on the RSI or the upward trend. And the CME gap hasn't been filled. We didn't break through the 200-day moving average, but we did break through the bull market or the bear market resistance band or the 20-week moving average, but the 200-day moving average isn't broken yet, and we might get rejected. But hey, there's still hope, man. If it kind of closes above 97,000 over the weekend, and we see a little push next week, you know, maybe some good news in the market. I mean, the S&P is up fucking high. Gold is moving up again. Silver is doing well. Oil is pretty stable. So there's options. I just feel that it's very risky when there's more risk for downside potential or more opportunity for downside than upside based on a 4-year cycle and based on certain resistance levels that are key not being broken. And there's always a bit of a bull market rally or bear market rally around this time, and then it kind of crashes another 50%. So I'd rather not be in and miss out on gains right now than go all in, risk a 25% retracement and give back 25% of the gains that I've made these last 4 years, which were significant. So for me, personally, it's not about making money right now. It's about wealth, how do you say this? Wealth management? Wealth preservation? Yeah, wealth preservation. I feel that the market is at too high of a point. Bitcoin is obviously, compared to the all-time high, it's not too high of a point, but based on a 4-year cycle, which up until now, unless it closes above the 200-week moving average and it starts rallying upwards, the 4-year cycle has not been broken yet. We're just in a bear market rally that might still play out till the end of the year, like October to January 2027, where we just bottom it anywhere between 30,000 to 56,000. So, and I'd rather go all in there than do even a small trade now. So I'm out, and I'll just wait for confirmation to see where we're going. And with Ton, that was a nice trade. You know, it was a couple of days it went up, made about 25% gains, and I put a good amount of money in. So that was a good trade. And then Ton, for the guys that don't know, Ton is like the coin of Telegram. Telegram, I think they disassociated and now they came back, so that's good news. And since Telegram is a pretty wide name, you see that trending on X and Google Trends, and then there's some opportunity to make there. It's not just a shitty altcoin; it has a little bit of fundamentals and some backing behind it. So that's a short-term trade you can make. And then I made 25%, and I gave about 3% away when it broke down. So I give 3% back. I still made a good amount of money there. Yeah. So that was a nice trade. But right now I'm kind of risk off. Yeah, wealth preservation instead of risking when there's too much at risk for 50% retracement. From 81 to 56 up until down to 30K. But if it reaches 30K, I'm all in, man. If it goes to 27, it's fine. It's fine. I'll buy another Bitcoin or two at the end of the month. But yeah, right now is not the time. I'm caring about wealth preservation. All right, last one. I feel like steroids are unfairly fear-mongered by Gen Pop. Many of the non-lifting buddies, coworkers think steroids of any kind will kill you at 40. Meanwhile, they regularly drink and vape. Yeah, so this is why you don't waste your time on Gen Pop. Just don't. Because look at Kurt, look at Paul. They're around 50 years old, right? Scott McNally is 47. These guys are in prime of their life. Prime. Healthy, fit, good looking, muscular, energetic, funny as fuck, right? They don't act like old farts. They're funny as fuck. They're hilarious. Like, I mean, Kurt's dry humor takes a little bit while to get used to, but once you get used to it, he's so witty, dude. You guys have no idea what we talk about off camera. It's so fucking funny. I can't stop laughing. So compare that to any other 50-year-old. I think people that are 40, 50 years old in the bodybuilding space, like Dennis James, he's 60. It doesn't come across like that. But then when you have Gen Pop of 60, they're weird and tired and moody, and everything is wrong, and all they do is complain. They don't have any solutions for everything, and they regularly drink and vape and whatever. and they're literally breaking their body. When you're 20, investing in people like that, it's fine because you're resilient. But when you're 40, 50, 60, why would you want to invest any time into a person that's not taking care of themselves and doesn't understand your lifestyle when they have a 10-year expiration date? Why would you want to do that to yourself when you're investing any kind of time in a person that's going to expire a couple of years from now? At 40 years old, you start to see the problems, right? Okay, I just tore my quad. Whoop-de-fucking-do, I'll get over it. Other guys at 40 years old, they have prostate issues or cancer or whatever. And that's what Gen Pop does to themselves. So I wouldn't want to waste my time investing into a person that's going to end up dying around me. I've had plenty of people dying around me already. And, family members through alcoholism and that kind of shit. So I'm trying to preserve my state of mind and well-being by not involving myself with Gen Pop or people who are not part of this lifting community because they expire very early. Okay, do bodybuilders die through their own stupidity? Sure, but you can see it coming a mile away, right? Besides Joe Statics, which was a freak accident, with the bodybuilders, the cardiovascular and issues, that's all self-induced. But I think if you use them sparingly and modestly, and even with all the experiments that I did, I mean, it's pretty insane what I took in my days, or Chase did. And me and Chase are pretty fucking healthy, dude. So, yeah, I think you just don't waste your time with average people because they expire early and they don't bring anything to the table that you can benefit from or enhance your life with. Whereas people in the fitness space, we're actively sharing information. We're vital. We're young at heart. We can take jokes. We're not that sensitive, at least, most of us. And we lift each other up. I mean, the amount of amazing people that I met through the bodybuilding space is phenomenal, dude. It's phenomenal. When you go to the Arnold Classic or Mr. Olympia or any other convention, like I went to the Fitway Classic here and I saw people that I haven't seen the local bodybuilding show. I saw people that I haven't seen in maybe 5 years because we kind of stepped away from the Thai bodybuilding scene. So we went to one of the bodybuilding shows and you catch up and everybody's fucking killing it, dude. Everybody's healthy and good looking and in shape. And yes, they got 5 years older and they might be 40 or 50 or 60 now. And they're all having a blast. But you can't say that about Gen Pop. All the people that I know from high school, still living in Holland, that are my age, they're fucked, dude. They're fucked. And they were making fun of me. Why would you go to the gym and put on this money? Why would you take steroids? Yeah. I guess we'll have the last laugh. Because when I look at Dennis James and Kurt and Paul, I mean, they're fucking killing it, dude. So that's, yeah. If you want to smoke a cigar once in a while, I'm okay with that. I mean, how old is Fouad Abiad? He's almost 50 also, smokes occasional cigars, doesn't eat the healthiest, but he had a good bodybuilding career up until he broke his arm or fucked his arm up, right? But he doesn't act like a 40, 50-year-old, right? He seems pretty vital. And a good time of his life. I really like this community. Yeah. I think this is one of the better communities that you can be a part of, even though we're all drug abusers. I think we're all functional drug abusers and most of us that have actually lived a life that are not at the bottom, just, trying to fucking, ball bite. I think the people that actually accomplish something in bodybuilding and have fun with it and improve their quality of life, I think they're vital up until very late stages of life. And that's what I want to be surrounded with. And Gen Pop, I don't have time for it. Don't have time for it. How much do you bench? Laugh or walk away. Don't waste your time, man. Don't waste your time. There's 7 billion people on this planet, and spend the time with the people that are worth your time, which is a very small amount. But how many people do you need in your life? 10, 20? You can easily find those, man. All right, guys, let's wrap it up there. Paul 52, Kurt 60, pretty sure. Kurt's not 60. What are you talking about? Here, augmented athlete. Enjoying his men's cycles, and all he has is a mild nerve issue, still healthy. Yeah, and I'm sure when you compare yourself to other 50 years old, like, dude, sometimes you meet people and they're like, how old are you? You're 35 or 40, and they ask me, how old are you? I say, I'm 42. First of all, most people don't believe that I'm 42, right? Unless I'm on a heavy cycle and I look a little bit oxidized and weathery skin. But yeah, most people don't believe that I'm 42. I certainly don't act like a 42-year-old compared to the general population. I don't take life too seriously, and I've lived a very full life. The only person that I know that was Gin Pop was my grandfather's brother. He's the only person I know that lived a very full life. He passed away last week. He had a restaurant. He sailed the boat. He went all over the world. He loved his fucking alcohol and cigarettes. And he loved his music. And man, that guy had a full fucking life, dude. Like, people were telling stories at his funeral. Obviously, I wasn't there. They were telling stories at his funeral for hours, literally, for hours. And every other funeral that I've heard about, people that were that age, he was like fucking almost 90 years old. 5 minutes, you're done. 5 minutes, you're done, or 70 years old, right? So, yeah, I think you should live a full life, and steroids are a part of that. You can live a very fun and full life with a little bit of steroids and some hardcore dabbling up until you're, like, over it. And then Chase is over at 37, and I might be over it pretty much now, depending on how the squad comes back. Because, well, if I can't train hard on the legs, then what's the point of taking all this fucking gear? Right? So, anyway, I had a good run. Let's leave it there, guys. Sorry for all the ranting at the end, but, you know, sometimes it has to happen. And I'm high on that there Gorilla Mind root beer. So, the recovery protocols linked down below in case you're undergoing a, recovery surgery yourself. And all the updates are there as well. Don't forget to shop at Omega Minos or Disguised Alpha to get some discount. And use the code Vigorous. And remember, guys, if you shop at Modern Aminos with my code, that's for personal use, not for research purposes. That's for personal use. Me and Modern Aminos, we're no longer buddies. I don't get any commissions, but they keep my code active, which is not cool. All right, guys. Peace out. We'll see you next weekend. Hopefully, I'll be able to walk. I'll keep you guys updated on the progress. See you guys.